upbeat person, you're watching True Heel Heat. Yes, it is I, Holly Cameron, and I'm in your phones, but I'm also making an appearance on True Heel Heat. I've been told it's a fantastic podcast. Why haven't you had me on it, huh? Where's my invitation? I think you guys need to feel the wrath. I'm at Comic-Con today, but I think we need to get some, some wrath in the show. So let me know.
All right, hello, True Heel Heat. I'm the AEW World Champion MJF. Just in case you're deaf, dumb, blind, stupid, or since you listen to this podcast, or you're listening to True Heel Heat, and I apologize for that.
What's going on, everybody? This is your former AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Once a champion, always a champion. Swerve Strickland. Whose house? Swerve's house. You're watching True Heel Heat podcast.
Hello. It is me, your True Heel Phenom, SP3, and we are live on the True Heel Heat YouTube and Facebook for our AEW Worlds End 2025 review, where the world did not end, but it became full again, as MJF becomes a two-time AEW World Champion, and we saw the second major redemption arc of AEW in 2025 as the man who lost to signal the completion of Hangman Adam Page's redemption arc back at All in Texas became the biggest babyface and the hero of the C2 as Jon Moxley won the AEW 2025 Continental Classic to become the new AEW Continental Champion. And we're here to break it all down for you. And to do that, I am joined by a very special guest, the one and only face and host and creator, founder of Dirt Sheet Radio. He is our favorite correspondent when it comes to these AEW pay-per-views, whether it's on our flagship podcast or here for the reviews. I really enjoy having him for the reviews. John Escudero, how you doing?
My boy, thank you for the intro. I appreciate that. I'm glad to be here as always.
Indeed, a good one for us to discuss today. And of course, as usual with our pay-per-view reviews, but he is on Chrissy Love Time today. We got the Tru Draw himself. Josh, how are you doing?
Chrissy Love Time, I showed up. She don't show up. What are you talking about?
You know how to bust your chops.
What you talking about? Oh, like Chrissy Love. Oh wait, she do be showing up late. That's right.
Yo, yeah. She shows up at we like to introduce the guest last, and she always seems to show up after we introduce the guest. So that's why I said Chrissy Love Time.
I thought you talking about her Roman schedule because I was like, hey, I'll show up.
Oh no. I would have said schedule. I would have said schedule, not time. Schedule. But yes, we are live for another pay-per-view review, our final pay-per-view review of 2025. So we appreciate y'all for joining us live. We appreciate y'all for watching us on demand. And most of all, we appreciate y'all for just being here and being a part of the Tru Heel Heat community and for all the support that we've gotten for our pay-per-view reviews and post shows throughout 2025. This has been probably our best year when it comes to pay-per-view reviews, whether it be WWE, AEW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, and a huge part about that is each and every one of you in our community. We appreciate y'all for that. So show your appreciation back the simplest way possible. Drop the thumbs up on the video. That helps out us a lot as it gets other wrestling fans like yourself to see this review of AEW Worlds End. You can also share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. That goes a long way to help us out as well. Best of all, you can hit the subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. We are here every single time there is an AEW pay-per-view or WWE pay-per-view or so on and so forth. We're here the day after to break it all down for you. So it's a good time to hit the subscribe button as we are about to start a whole new year, and we got year-end content dropping here on the channel starting tomorrow, actually, and already started with our tier list and other stuff like that. But year-end countdown videos are going to be starting tomorrow. And of course, you can sound off in the comment section if you're watching us on demand. Let's keep the conversation going and give us your thoughts on AEW Worlds End. You might not agree with our opinions of Worlds End, so let us know your opinions. Just don't be a dick. Like what you like, just don't be a dick. And of course, same thing goes for the live chat. We love to interact with all of you while we're here live and hear your thoughts on AEW Worlds End. And of course, if you're feeling generous, you want to give back to what we do here, you can send a super chat donation. Any dollar amount matters. It goes back to contributors that you see on screen with us here. It goes a long way to help the channel grow and move forward. And we always appreciate the support. Like our good brother Valup, who also shows you a great way to support us by hitting the join button and becoming a member of the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel. Like Valup here, who is also one of our moderators and Patreon backers. He says, loved the pay-per-view. That is a lot of love. He says, a really tight 4-hour main card. Didn't mind the few botches, but first order has to be reunification ASAP. Yeah, I mean, definitely, the title situation did not get better due to last night's pay-per-view, but I do agree with you. I thought that this was, I said, like, I think with 3 matches or 2 matches left on the card, I told the Tru Heel Heat chat, you, Josh, and the others, I was like, this card has had no misses for me. I was like, even the worst matches, like, I think one of the matches like went a little too long. Even that was fun. I don't think there was a bad match on last night's card. What did you think, John?
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. There was no bad wrestling on last night's card. And if we're talking about the same match that probably went too long, it might have been that tag street fight.
Yeah.
But as far as bad wrestling, there was none on this pay-per-view tonight. Not at all. It was a great, and then like you mentioned, 4 hours on the dot. Everybody goes home happy. I don't know, man. I had a good time last night.
I had a great time, and like I'm on the 5-hour difference. This is my first pay-per-view back in the UK in like 4 or 5 months, and I like there was probably like one moment late in the card where I felt tired, but I instantly got myself back into it because I was like, digging this matchup. I want to see this matchup. I want to see who wins. So I instantly got myself up. But that's better than a lot of pay-per-views, especially from like other companies that I've had to stay up for here in the UK. But Josh, what about you? Do you agree with the take from Vala? Did you think it was a tight 4-hour card? And what do you think about my opinion that there was no bad matches on last night's card?
I agree. I really didn't see a match where it was like, where it felt like it was either a break or, where I felt like, oh man, this is going like slow or anything. Like, honestly, I felt like the card flew by yesterday because even when I looked at the time, I think on my end, when it hit 10 o'clock, I was like, oh shit, it's already about to be 10 o'clock. I thought it was like an hour in and it was 2 hours in. I was like, wait, what? I was like, damn, this shit went really fast. And I think that's what helped the last night, where it was a 4-hour show. It didn't feel like 4 hours. It felt like 3, in my opinion. And then, by the time even the co-main event went on, I was like, all right, so we have one more match after this. So it felt good.
Yeah. I figured like when we were getting to the women's championship matchup, I was like, oh, there's only 3 matches left. I was like, this might be over before midnight Eastern, which for those in Chicago, it ended at like 11 because they're on the Central Time. So it ended for them in 11 for the live crowd. So that's a pretty decent, that's decent timing on AEW standards.
Also, kudos on all the unpredictability on that show. There were 1 or 2 matches where you're like, okay, well, this person's gonna retain. Maybe they just won the belt, and then in AEW, it's not always guaranteed. But I thought there was a lot of unpredictability and not knowing where the show was gonna go for the main matches, for most of the main matches of the night, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, especially with the Continental Classic. Like I literally, to be correct about the final, I literally changed my pick from the preview. On the preview, I predicted Takeshita and Fletcher in the finals, just like Jay News and Maggie. And then on our final predictions on the flagship podcast with Josh, JJ, and Chrissy, I was like, it's going to be Okada and Moxley. So I covered all my bases. So I was going to be right regardless.
My heart wanted Takeshita versus Fletcher, but my brain knew that Moxley versus Okada was kind of like the way you had to go here almost, as far as for a number of reasons, honestly. Moxley's arc, Okada's integrity as champion, talking about integrity, both the Tokyo Dome main event guys losing a week before this show is wild.
That is quite the move, quite the flex by Tony Khan there, having both guys. Because I was like, when it came down to Okada and Moxley in the final, I was like, oh yeah, Okada's gonna win, right? Okada's gonna win because he's going into the Tokyo Dome main event. Nope. We got to tell our story. Tony Khan, I appreciate it.
I will say they did protect the IWGP World Champion at least, which I had seen. Particularly, I think Brian Alvarez asked, like, why would they protect Takeshita and not Okada? But I was like, you know what? In New Japan's eyes, Okada's not a champion to them. That's not their problem. They're more worried about Takeshita because that's the guy who's holding their damn brand around their waist. So I understood. I definitely understood why one got the protection and one was able to do the honors, so to speak.
And the main reason why I predicted for Okada to win on the flagship was because I was like, are they like Takeshita hasn't lost this whole tournament? Like it was like he went undefeated. He set the record for the most points. He didn't really need to make it all the way to the finals because they protected him so much. And then they protected him with the finish last night. We'll talk about the finish. I didn't like the execution of the finish, but I understood what they were going for.
Same. We'll talk about that.
We got our boy Goldie Loke in the chat. Good to see you. Who says what it do at THH? Wow, what a damn show. We got Michael Allen Lewis who says as far as the championship situations, those were all predictable, but Mox's C2 win throws my D Rider theories into disarray. Make it make sense. TK, I like the fact that we don't know where this whole Death Riders thing is going to end or where it's going to end at all at this point.
I like it. I like it, especially the promo. Like I don't see the problem with the promo. What people don't understand is what Moxie said last night. It wasn't so much like, oh, it's the whole point that it goes against everything the group stands for. Like,
well, it's not really, because he has basically been saying this. He's been saying this the whole time, but now he finally feels like the people have listened, and now it's coming.
Listen.
This is so frustrating to see, bro. There's so many people who don't watch the show at all. Because they don't watch the show. Because if you watch the show, this would make perfect sense.
I know you're talking about.
I mean, fuck Peter Rosenberg, first of all. There's so many also, but because he works for WWE, like, and then he only tweeted about that and then MJF. Like, bro, you turned it on just to watch MJF. Like, I get it. Like, that's your, it's your blood brother. I get that. But fuck you. Like, God, don't even comment on the storylines that you don't watch. You work for you do commentary for Evolve, talking about who has stories and who doesn't have stories. Go watch Nikita twerk in a backstage segment. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. But that's not, like, go worry about getting your Hot 97 job back, bro. Like, don't worry about AEW, bro. You don't watch this. And there's so many other people who don't watch this that are like, oh, Jon Moxley's promo doesn't make any sense. Didn't he want to destroy AEW? No, you fucking dumbass. He said it from day one. I want to wake this company up. You motherfuckers have disappointed me. I'm the leader of this company. I want to fix this. And then in the C2 promos, if you were watching them, if you enjoy AEW, you probably did. Moxley would say, especially about people like Orange Cassidy, you once said you didn't want to become what I wanted you to become. And look at you, a beautiful thing. AEW has become what he wanted it to become. His mission is fulfilled. And I even said last month on the review show, like, what if the Death Riders really all do love each other? Like, and of course, there's still a possibility that they will turn down the line. But as Moxley's arc, as far as Moxley's arc is concerned, that shit was primo. I mean, how could you not appreciate that 4 to 6 week slow burn, or fuck around 3 months slow burn?
And like the fact that they did all those submission tap outs, and now every match, anytime he's in a submission, it gets this ridiculous reaction. Like, the crowd is on, like, you can literally hear the crowd on the edge of their seat, and then me thousands of miles away watching it on TV. I'm on the edge of my seat watching him in these submissions, knowing he's not going to tap out, but still being a part of the whole tease to him getting to the ropes and finally getting to the ropes and powering himself up, man. But I will say, tight card, like I said, no bad matches, but the card did peak in the second matchup. Nothing was able to follow that semifinal to me.
Ooh. Oh, well, I guess we'll talk about it in detail, but that was a late entry for match of the year. Holy shit.
I was like, damn. I literally was thinking about messaging Josh and Chrissy and JJ, like, we might have to do the end of year awards for the first podcast of the new year, so we can include Worlds End and some of these matches if they're going to deliver like this. Because last year you had the Okada and Ospreay matchup and the Ospreay and Fletcher second matchup. That was excellent. And then this year you got that matchup, which, yeah, if we did the end of year awards, or we opened the ballot up till like the end of the year, this will probably get some late admissions. And even like with our top 10 matches of the year that's going to be coming out next week, we got late additions for Fletcher and Speedball, because that happened late into the game. But like, this is even later. Like, man, it makes me frustrated that most end of year awards happen around this time and that this will not be included.
I waited. I started my year in awards in the beginning of the month, but I did 2 week, and I knew that I would hold on to the best matches at least. Again, Wrestler of the Year thing is clenched, right? Nobody's going to change in December. But I figured AEW Worlds End has the Continental Classic final, so I will at least wait, because I know last year they fucking did that to me, and I was like, well, this time you won't get me. So this afternoon, there will be a vote for matches of the year. It's going to be great.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. We got a couple of great people in the chat. I see Follow Up and Louisville's in the chat. We got Brandon James as a gentleman. We are heading towards MJF versus Kenny Omega title feud. Yes, it was reported last night ahead of the pay-per-view that there are those within AEW who are pushing for Kenny Omega to be a part of the AEW World Title picture. And I just put out there, I was like, I kind of been pushing for this since he came back at last year's Worlds End. I was literally the guy who was pushing at the beginning of the year. If you remember, Josh, I was like, they should do the partnership between Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay, and then it should be those two for AEW World Championship sometime in 2025. It never happened. It never came to fruition. But if we're gonna get Kenny Omega, like, I understand, yes, his body's breaking down. Yes, they're trying to push him more to multi-man matches to preserve him, but this dude does have more singles matches left in him. Don't get fooled by the reports. Like, this dude does have more singles matches in him, and him and MJF to me are the two biggest AEW specific draws of the company. Like Moxley, he became a star in WWE and he brought that over and he's become a genuine AEW original in that eyes. But to me, the two main draws of AEW throughout his history has been MJF and Kenny Omega. And the fact that the only time we got that was on an episode of Collision that most people miss, we need that as a real world title program at a pay-per-view.
And I was late, sick, diverticulitis, Kenny, and he still pulled out a 4.25 star match on that Collision. So wait till we get that pay-per-view main event. That's gonna be some shit. I know I'd see some people doubting Kenny's skill. Like I was like, he's obviously older, and I mean, and for like and I was a little thicker than maybe some people remember, but that doesn't change who Kenny Omega is. Like, I mean, I don't know. I've really enjoyed some of the trio stuff he's done while he's been back. So I'm baffled by the conversation even, but I guess everyone gets old, and as soon as they do, people take that as an opportunity to attack.
Yeah. We got our good friend Danny in the chat, Josh, who says Moxley winning and him cutting that promo was bullshit. He says TK needs to shorten these shows. We don't need 3-4 matches on the pre-show. It's a waste of time. You don't need to watch the pre-show. I'm just letting you know. You're not obligated to watch the pre-show. You don't really need to watch the pre-show. So I'm just wondering, does he sit there for 5 hours and just complain? So then he could just come in here and just complain? Like, it's just weird. It's weird behavior. It's like, are you even a wrestling fan at this point?
But
or are you complaining? You're complaining about a pre-show, an hour pre-show. You're complaining about a pre-show. Seriously, this is what we're doing. They
shorten the show too. I mean, they shortened it by like an hour.
The main show started at 8 o'clock. Why are we complaining about a pre-show?
Bro wants to watch an episode of Dynamite. These pay-per-views can't be 2 hours long, my friend. I paid fucking $40 for this. I don't want a fucking 2-hour pay-per-view.
Like, every time he comes in here, this dude could disappear for a month and then he comes back just complaining. I'm just I like
to think that if he watches the show and complains, that at least he's better than people like Peter Rosenberg who don't watch the show.
But I mean, it's not saying much. It's not saying much.
I will give you that because at least you might actually feel that way. Like, there's so many people out there who don't watch the show and say things for reactions. I mean, to be honest, I think that's what he does. I think he feels that way.
Yeah, no. He does. He does do it. He's just doing it for a reaction because this is.
Does he post online?
This statement doesn't make any. He's just doing it in our chat. Danny says, "I'm a fan of good TV. AEW and WWE has been asked the entire year, and people just want to glaze, or you just want to hate. Yeah. Maybe it's that. If everybody is saying this is good, and you are the contrarian who thinks it's not good, and you think it's ass, but everybody else is saying it good, maybe you should try to understand what they think is good." And actually embrace it, or just stop watching because we don't want to hear it.
That comment,
because especially because you don't know how to articulate your hate either, Danny. You just say apparent things that just don't make sense. It's been asked the entire year, so nothing's been good about it. Like, God, man. You don't have anything constructive to say at all. At all.
I mean,
Anytime you comment,
that's also part of the problem too, where it's like, hey, you could dislike something, but then it's like at least have some substance behind it. And then when you really don't have substance, and then when you act like you do, and then it's not even true, then it's like, what are you here for exactly? Now, if you wanted a reaction, hey, you're getting it, but it's just the fact that every time you come in here, you're always complaining, and then your takes are never even good. You'll have like one good take in it. You'll have like one good take, and then you ruin it with 5 others. Like,
I think
that's the problem.
That comment right there is the biggest one. It's like it's the declarative stuff that bothers people. Like if you would just say like, yeah, I thought this, I thought that, it sounds better than WWE and TNA or WWE and AEW were asked this year. Like, I mean, there was one company that was probably asked this year, but I don't think they were both asked all year long. At least that's what I think.
And I've tried to tell him this before. Josh been here many a times where I tried to tell Danny, put IMO, or I think. I think that will help him out so much. You didn't like something. That's fine. That's fine for you to like something. Like I said at the top of the show, maybe you missed it. Like what you like, just don't be a dick. And by making absolute declarative statements, you're being a dick. Did Fletcher just win Sports Illustrated Breakout Star of the Year? Okay, cool. Let's have Mox beat him.
That's not how that works.
This is the example of you being a dick.
That makes no sense. This like that.
I've seen a lot of people.
That's not how that works. Like
I've seen that reaction. Unfortunately, like I've seen those comments. I've seen people say the young guy is getting buried, but that's first of all, that's absolutely not what happened. Like he looked fucking incredible. On top of that, Jon Moxley is Jon Moxley. That's the 4-time AEW World Champion. I don't think looking incredible in a match with a 4-time AEW World Champion is a burial. You know, it's when you're fucking under 30 years old, like you're gonna be okay, brother. You just got pushed. He just got pushed all year long too. Like he was on top.
And look at the way he lost. He didn't even tap out. He got choked out
in the semis.
That's what people wanted for Cena. Cena tapped out. Fletcher didn't tap out. That's all, right?
Yeah, he didn't tap out. He passed out. That's what everybody wanted for John Cena.
His fucking face turned red. This fucking face was turning purple. I thought he did that well.
That's such a great sell. Oh, God, we'll talk about it.
He kept grabbing the ref. That shit was funny.
But as always, as we do with our pay-per-view reviews, before we get into things, we need one word, one statement, one phrase to describe your overall thoughts on AEW Worlds End 2025. John.
Satisfied.
Josh.
I'll go with great. I thought the pay-per-view was great.
I would go with proper conclusion to the best pay-per-view year in AEW history. Let's start off with the 0 hour very quickly here. 0 hour, things kicked off with tag team action as Julia Hart and Sky Blue of the Sisters of Sin faced the newest stars of AEW, Hyan and Maya World. We talked about this on the preview as well as the predictions that we did on the flagship podcast. Everybody was looking for Hyan and Maya World to have a strong performance here and get their all elite graphic. They had another solid performance here, looked good throughout. However, it was the Sisters of Sin hitting their double team a gunslinger to pick up the victory here. This match only got just over 6 minutes, but it was very competitive as it went on, and another fine showing by Hyan and Maya World. And despite not getting the victory, they did get what they really wanted, what everybody really wanted for them, as after the matchup on social media, Tony Khan posted up, Hyan and Maya World are hashtag all elite. Well deserved for these two ladies who stepped up Of course, we go back to the whole issue that happened with Tegan Knox, aka Nixon Noel, and Miranda Alizé, who walked out on the opportunity to have a tag team matchup on an episode of Collision due to the time they were being given. Hyan and Maya World stepped up to the plate in that position. They got a couple of more matches on Collision after that. Got to be on a pay-per-view pre-show here, and it was well deserved. And this is proof that the lesson here is there is no such thing as an empty opportunity in pro wrestling. Regardless of how much time you're being given, every opportunity is something for you to seize. Hyan and Maya World were able to do that, and they signed their first big contracts with a major promotion. Congratulations to both ladies. The match itself, it was fine. I give it 2.5 stars. John, any thoughts on the match itself and Hyan and Maya World officially becoming #all elite?
I think one of the things I could say is that it's interesting to see the gap between Julia Hart and Sky Blue. I don't know that it was always there, but it's certainly like noticeable now. It's really crazy how Julia was like the main star of like this spooky thing that spin off of Aleister Black. Like this is technically still Aleister Black lore. But and has fallen down. Like Thekla is the main one now. Sky Blue is probably the better wrestler than Julia, and Julia is there for the vibes. But besides that, Hyan and Maya World, you can't help but to root for somebody like that, right? You hear the stories, they stepped up. They said, "What, 3 minutes? Give me that shit. Give me 3 minutes every week. I'm taking that." It's hard not to respect that. I felt like, especially in AEW, they reward opportunity to people who make the right moves like that. Especially, like I always say, look at Swerve Strickland. That's the guy who came in on the bottom and was like, "I'll do anything you guys want me to do." And that motherfucker
Willow Nightingale, people who come in from the bottom and just do what the company wants them to do, and they prove their worth, they will be rewarded in this place. Usually, obviously, there's one or two outliers for reasons, some that we know, others that we don't. But I love seeing this opportunity get rewarded. So good for you girls. Y'all got a weekly paycheck. Let's go. Josh, what did you think about Hyan and Maya World, #all elite, and their matchup here?
The match itself was okay. I thought, you convinced me. I thought they were gonna win because like that's how they would get the graphic. So I was like, hey, let's get behind them. They lost, but then they still got the graphic. So I mean, still ends up working out. And as far as them, finally getting like full-time deals, I mean, good for them. They were given an opportunity, and it's just kind of crazy how everything just kind of panned out. They were there waiting backstage. They weren't even scheduled to have a match or anything. They were just there to be ready. And the fact that, two people who felt entitled, they ended up leaving and they stepped in. It's kind of crazy. You never know. It's like, hey, maybe if they would have stayed, this probably would have been done. But no, they burned that bridge,
I think it would have been them. Like, I think they would have got signed. And I think because AEW needs women's tag teams, and they were willing to, and they basically built Hyan and Maya World. Like, we had two separate local talents, and we put them on a team, and we kept booking them as a team, and now they're going to be a team by the time people are used to them. We just made one. We were looking for one that was made. You fucks.
And it's good for both ladies, And it kind of just tells you what kind of business this is, where it's like, who cares if you fucking win or lose, especially from where you're at. If you're not on that top tier, and you're just on that bottom, I mean, you got to work your way up. And that's almost like in any job, even in any type of regular job, where when you start off, you're getting the scraps. But then, if they see that you put in the effort, they'll end up working out. And then for these two ladies, it ended up working out. So, I mean, it's good for them. They got jobs, full-time jobs, and they're still able to do their personal bookings. I mean, it's good for them, and I'm very happy for them, for people like this, people who are willing to, hey, give me 2-minute matches, I'll do it. And then guess what? You get a full-time paycheck like you were like as a winner. So good for these ladies.
Happy for them both. They deserve it. Going on to the next matchup, we had the grizzled young veterans coming out as it was Zack Gibson with James Drake in his corner going one-on-one with Eddie Kingston following their attack on Kingston on ROH TV. Kingston came in fired up. We get the chops. We get the Eddie fire throughout this one. He hits the leaping Insiguri, followed by his now signature DDT. He connects with that to get the 1-2-3. This was a rather short matchup, only going 5.5 minutes, but I felt like it was more about the post-match here as the GYV jumped Kingston. They were choking him with the scarf and about to hit their coast-to-coast dropkick when the music of Ortiz hits, and out comes the New York native and Eddie Kingston's best friend, making his return for the first time on AEW television since January of 2024. He was out with injury, out for some time, taking care of other stuff. I love Kingston's reaction to this. Just look at Eddie's face in this photo here. He just looks like, wait, is that you? Is that you, Ortiz? He got the save from Ortiz. They embraced post-match, and I instantly was like, yeah, this should be the move. They were looking for a tag team for Eddie. That's why they put him with Hook for the time being. But that kind of worked out for Hook to put him back in the ops with the heel turn. And now he's got some type of character direction. So that helped for him. But Eddie needs to be in a tag team right now. He's still trying to ease himself back in, work off the ring rust. And for this stage of his career, he's probably better off in a tag team. Ortiz always wanted to be in a tag team. Unfortunately, his tag team partner wanted to pursue singles opportunities, which he is doing over in TNA Wrestling. But Ortiz in a tag team, this just feels right. I think they will be a fun addition to the tag team division. John, what did you think about the match and Ortiz return?
Yeah, it's hard not to be happy that Ortiz is back. I know a lot of less informed people are like wondering where he was. I know he was injured. He's been out for 1.5 years, and I'm glad to see that it didn't take. Well, I mean, it took a few months, but it didn't take so long for them to get back into the cycle, put the gear back on the machine. And here's hoping that this leads to good things for Ortiz. I always liked Ortiz. I liked him as part of Proud and Powerful. I've trained with him a little bit in school. Like he was a pretty good guy. So I love to see him get these opportunities. So hell yeah, him and Eddie Kingston would make a great tag team. Obviously, both from New York. It's not hard to get a gimmick going if you really want to put some heat behind them. So I mean, shit. He's hoping they climb the rung. It looks like they're going to be starting on Ring of Honor or something similar to that.
Probably like Ring of Honor and Collision. That's where they'll mostly be featured for the time being. Josh, what do you think about Ortiz's return and the matchup, Kingston and Gibson?
The matchup itself was okay. I mean, it was a short matchup, but I thought it was more of an angle based, which I kind of figured. I was like, yeah, this is the way to bring back Ortiz, just because you have the grizzly young vets. They're gonna beat him up. Obviously, you need somebody to come out, and that was Ortiz. I'm happy to see Ortiz. Just like Santana, these are two guys that I've known for almost 10 years now on a personal level. Especially, they work from House of Glory, but seeing them grow as wrestlers and as men, and I think that both of the trajectories are just different because, Ortiz, obviously Santana wanted more, and I don't want to say that he wanted more for himself, but he just knows what kind of business this is. Ortiz, he's more of a, he's more of a businessman. If he's happy with having a job, then he's going to do by any means to keep that job. I don't think either or is wrong. People have different desires. People have different, they have different goals, and on top of that, what people don't know either, a lot of people don't know, is that Ortiz, he was actually working backstage too. He was learning behind the scenes stuff like producing. He was learning those things while he was injured. So he was still working. You just didn't see him. And that's kind of a good thing, whereas like, if he can't wrestle, then at least there's something backup. Like at least there's some kind of experience within the business that he could still have. So I'm happy, on a personal level, just seeing him on TV. if that's something that he wants to do, being a tag team with Eddie Kingston, I think it's something that could work out. I think both guys need it, honestly, when it comes, especially like Eddie Kingston still getting back into the groove on things. But I think them being a tag team, I think it just fits. Like you said, 2 New York guys, so you could do anything with that. So I think it's a perfect fit, and just happy overall just seeing him back.
I like his music.
Yeah.
He had some new music, or maybe I just hadn't heard it before, but I liked it.
Yeah, I dug it. I was wondering whose music it was as well, and then I saw it was him. I was like, oh, that's what's up. I saw he came back, I think, on an episode of, it's going to be a future episode of ROH at the Hammerstein. So I think it's on Tuesday. They're going to show that episode, but I'm glad to see him on AEW proper. Next, we had some tag team action, and I thought this was probably the best thing on the pre-show. You had Mascara, Dorada teaming up with ROH World Champion Bandido to versus the Don Callis families, Rocky Romero and Mark Davis. This was a fun sprint. This was just full speed ahead from the minute go. They only got like 7.5 minutes, but damn, Mascara, Dorada, and Bandido were just flying all over the place. You get this one moment where Davis and Rocky grab up Dorada on a springboard crossbody, and then Bandido comes off the top rope with a twisting tornillo, knocking down both men, and then they were just going off at the end. You get the frog splash by Bandido, but then Davis breaks up the cover, Davis with an enziguri, and then Rocky hits sliced bread. He gets a near fall. We get the forever clotheslines in the corner before Dorada kicks Romero off the buckles. He has a Terjeras on Mark Davis. We get a tilt-a-whirl into the X-knee by Bandido. Then we get a beautiful shooting star press from Dorada. Then Dorada just goes full speed ahead, runs the ropes, hits a tornillo on the outside to Davis while Rocky is still stumbling and trying to get to his feet on the ropes. Bandido uses that to his advantage and hits the 21 plex for the 1-2-3. This was a bunch of fun. I gave this 3.25 stars, 7.5 minutes. Commentary were really pushing the idea of Bandido teaming with Dorada. And I'm like, okay, is Brodido done? They just got engaged on Dynamite. What are y'all talking about? Or is Buddy Matthews closer to coming back than what we think? And we're going to get Hounds of Hell reunion. I don't know what they were doing with the commentary pushing that so far, but this was a lot of fun for a last minute addition to the 0 hour. Josh, what did you think about Dorada and Bandido here?
I thought the matchup was fun. It was just more of a showcase, in my opinion. I mean, he did his job. I'm not going to write anything too crazy, but I thought it was fun. They did some cool moves. They did some things. And, obviously Bandido was over with the crowd. It was a fine matchup.
John?
Like you mentioned, I was wondering where the fuck is Brody King, because Bandido literally just wore his gear on Wednesday and he just got saved by Brody. So I don't think Brody's injured because he was doing physicality. Someone suggested maybe it's a trios run. I would not hate that. I would actually love to see Brody with 2 luchador children. Just, it's just like these are my sons. We're here to beat people up. And I would love that actually. So here's the hoping we do see more of Bandido and Mascara Dorada together, and we keep Brody in the spotlight, because I don't want to lose Brody to this. And even if Buddy Matthews returns, I'm not even sure that I want them to get back together. Like, Brody has gotten, like, he's grown so much, separated from anything that had to do with House of Black. And that's not a knock on Buddy Matthews. Like, he got left behind too. He's gonna have to have his chance to get over and show what he can do. But I'm so happy to see Brody develop in AEW, so separate from this thing, that I don't want to lose that. So that's mostly what I'm worried about here.
I will say I was quite probably the most surprising award winner for yesterday's Heaties that we did on the flagship podcast was Brodido winning Tag Team of the Year. So it would be kind of heartbreaking to see Brodido then get broken up going into 2026.
It's a little wild. I will actually say it here where nobody's looking or people can see it. We did Wrestler of the Year votes early so that there would be a month of people to get their votes in, and we are thousands of votes in, and Bandido is surprisingly well, he spent most of the poll voting at number one. It was very close between him and Hangman, and I can't believe it. I was like, I'm more impressed with it with the audience than anything, because he's not
it's basically the Will Ospreay thing from 2023 and 2024, where like I feel like most people don't understand what wrestler of the year is, like men's wrestler of the year, women's wrestler of the year. It's not just the person who had the best matches. It's kind of everything. It's the character work. It's the promo work. It's if they were a draw, what's their push in their company and stuff like that. But sometimes someone can just be so overwhelmingly the best in-ring performer of the year that they will get those votes for a wrestler of the year. Like Ospreay did it 2023, 2024 in a lot of polls in multiple awards because he was just far and away the best in-ring wrestler. And I think Bandido had that kind of year where people are just like, yeah, he's my wrestler of the year.
He's going to have to, or AEW is going to have to give him that big push, which I mean, in literally the first match of his in 2026 is going to be a world championship match. So I mean, this is a good direction to go in for Bandido. I suspect that they recognize what they have too. I hope anyway, because that's a world champion right there in the future if they play their cards right.
I agree. We did get kind of a glitch heading into the celebration for Bandido and Dorada, where it was announced that El Clon will be activated and he will be coming to Collision in 2026. So finally, he's free. He's able to compete. He got signed earlier this year, but he was injured at the time. Arez, who's behind the mask. So I'm glad he's going to finally be able to perform inside the ring again.
They took so long for him to actually debut in ring that I was wondering if Hologram is ready to go. Like we like, I was like, holy shit! Like, but it's been months. You know, he's just been standing around in the Don Callis family. So I was like, wow, I wonder if Hologram is back, because otherwise, why did we wait so long to activate El Clone? And don't get me wrong, I'm still excited to see El Clone versus Hologram, if only because this is like a company where I think they can pull off the Dark Luchador versus his regular version. You know, American companies have not had the best luck with that kind of storyline. So I mean, here's hoping. I'm rooting for El Clone and Hologram to pull this off. It's Arez and fucking Arames. I think this is gonna be great.
And we got Tapelo who says Bandido beats MJF for a surprise title win. Who says no? I say no, because that's way too many. That's hot potato in the world title.
1 week later, man, come on.
that's
no,
me.
He probably maybe in general, a surprise win.
I know what he is saying. Like, Bandido's great. No one will complain about it. But I would say no, because that's way too many title changes for the AEW World Title. We don't need to give people PTSD of 2022. Just saying. We get 8-man tag team action to close out 0 Hour as JetSpeed, Speedball Mike Bailey, and Kevin the Jet Knight teaming up with Jurassic Express, Jack Perry, and Luchasaurus to verse the Demand, Ricochet and GOA, along with the Don Callis family's Josh Alexander. We see a clip from earlier in the day where Ricochet and the Demand met up with Don Callis to make this arrangement, to make this team up, to take out a couple of the enemies of the Don Callis family, specifically the Jurassic Express. Of course, Ricochet and the GOA would start off this matchup hot by attacking Jurassic Express right at their entrance, and they physically take out Luchasaurus, injuring his arm, taking out Jack Perry by hitting him in the back of the head with the national championship. So that meant that JetSpeed were pretty much on their own for a long duration of this matchup. It must be noted that this was a first, as this was the first time I've ever seen Speedball Mike Bailey wear tights. Speedball Mike Bailey, he would
Kevin Knight's tights.
Yeah,
it was Kevin Knight's tights.
He must have, I don't know if he had issues with his check bag when he came to Chicago. I don't know what it was, but that was funny. So it's basically a handicap matchup for most of this matchup, with the Demand taking advantage. Of course, JetSpeed would make some type of comebacks, but it looked like the Demand had it in control. Ricochet was going for the Spirit Gun when the Jurassic Express music hits again, and here comes Luchasaurus all bandaged up. He takes everyone out with choke slams and clotheslines. Ricochet misses the Spirit Gun. Luchasaurus tags in Jack Perry. Bailey hits the triangle moonsault on Toa Leona. Choke slam by Luchasaurus. Ricochet is down, and then Perry hits an assisted running knee strike, and he gets the 1-2-3 on the national champion Ricochet here to pick up the victory for his team. Jurassic JetSpeed picking up the victory. This was a pretty good matchup. A lot of fun. Got the crowd amped up, especially when Luchasaurus came out to basically make the hot tag and come back from his injury. And Jack Perry got himself a title shot in the process, as it will be this Wednesday on AEW Dynamite New Year's Smash. Ricochet will defend the national championship against Jungle Jack Perry. Josh, what did you think about the main event of 0 Hour?
I thought the match was good. Really enjoyed it. A lot of fun. I like the fact that, you know, they're continuing something for this week. But overall, I thought it was a fun matchup. You know, it was just funny that how, you know, they try to take out Jack Perry and Luchasaurus, and that shit didn't work because they came right back and got the win. I thought that was fucking hilarious. But overall, it was a fun matchup.
I was disappointed that we didn't get the 8-man tag with just the C2 people in it. But
yeah,
I think I ended up really liking Mixed Nuts, so it's okay.
That was probably the surprise hit of the main card for me. John, what did you think about JetSpeed and Jurassic Express versus the Man and Alexander?
I think Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight's tights was enough to entertain me for the rest of the pre-show. I was like, look at this fucking guy. This is hilarious. But Luchasaurus getting killed in the beginning of the match, basically kidnapped. Like, they actually lifted him up and took him backstage and left him there. I love stupid shit like that. Like, I mean, if a bunch of fucking angry ass big strong heels had an idea to take the other one out and literally lift him and leave him backstage, that's the funniest Looney Tunes shit. I like things like that, especially on a pre-show, and especially when it's, you know, Ricochet and the Demand. Like, they're funny. They're fucking sneaky Weasley. I think that's fun. I had a good time, and I'm glad that it didn't leak into the show too. Let's not overrun that gimmick. We can play that sometimes.
We got Don Pello who says, laughing emoji, y'all really want another MJF World Title reign in 2026? Yes. I see other people in the chat to say the same thing, but he says, I'm not saying his first reign wasn't great, but there were some dark times during that reign. Yes, the devil stuff. But let's not, I feel like the majority of fans want to put a big spotlight on the devil stuff and not a big spotlight on the success that was Better Than You, Baby. That was a hit that really was the driving force for AEW in the summer of 2023. Why they did this successful show at Wembley Stadium. He headlined that show. That match was great. He had one of the greatest AEW matches of all time during that reign against Bryan Danielson in the Iron Man match at Revolution. The Four Pillars build-up was not that great, but the match itself was. He got a good match out of No Knees Tanahashi at Forbidden Door. Like, why do people so much want to focus on everything that happened post Adam Cole jumping off that ramp and not all the things that happened before Adam Cole jumped off that ramp? Because it's literally about 9 months of great stuff as MJF as world champion.
They want to switch up. I saw all y'all. You were all chanting for the kangaroo kick. Like, don't switch up on me now and like, oh no, MJF, he's champion. No, we're gonna go back to 2023. It wasn't even like, it was the last fucking September, October, November, December. It was those last 4 months where things got iffy because they had no plan. Their plan was gone. They were like making shit up. They were like, we'll try something. We'll try what we can. I think another thing is that they have grown since that since that era. You know, Tony Khan in particular as a storyteller has grown since that time. I don't foresee him falling back down that sort of turning a pay-per-view into a whole storyline thing that people really hated. Like, people talk about Full Gear 2023 like it was the devil. If that show had Hangman versus Swerve Strickland on it. Like, so I think we get very lost in some of the moments sometimes. I think especially AEW fans. AEW fans are very doom and gloom about everything. It's like, what the fuck?
No, it happens a lot. Like, perfect example is the Death Rider stuff, where people hated the Death Rider stuff, but they still hold on to like what happened at the beginning of the year. But they don't look at what happened like at All In.
The other 12 or the other 8 months
after the fact. Yeah, like they don't see what happened after the fact, right? When it started picking up. They don't see that. They just focus on like when it was bad. They focus on when it was down, you know? And I do see that a lot with AEW fans. They tend to like harbor on to stuff like that. But the MJF stuff with his title run, I thought his title run was great. You know, if you're getting like 9-10 months of great stuff, to me that's a great reign. To me, that's a great reign for a reign that was over a year. I mean, you also got to consider that too. You know, obviously there were some down periods, but I was also overall AEW. You got to understand that too, right? Because that same year, the CM Punk stuff was going on. Like, you know, so I mean, it is what it is. But I just don't. I think him getting back the title, I like it. I'm in favor of it. You know, this is your star. This is your day one guy. You know, I'm fine. I'm fine with it, right? People wanted MJF to do something again. They wanted more from MJF, and he got it. He got his title back. So, I mean, this is what a lot of people wanted. This is what we're getting.
Imagine thinking that you have a guy, and he's your top guy, one of them, and he gets to go off to Hollywood, and he gets to do all these movies, and he comes back. Imagine not putting your world championship on him. Like, what the fuck would you be thinking? Honestly,
he's literally the biggest homegrown star you've ever built that has now transitioned and was in the most watched Netflix film of 2025.
Hello, I'm saying, like, he walked right back into AEW and took the world championship, and that's essentially what I would want to see a top guy, especially a heel, who returns from Hollywood and tells all you to suck his dick and then takes the world championship. Now you hate him. Now they're mad. And it's like, yeah, you're mad. Yes, thank you. You've achieved what he wanted from you. You this is a successful venture all the way through. Like, good job.
You're just not looking, Chase. He says, where do you see these AEW fans? All I see is the fans who just copy TK's tweets saying everything's great. No, you're bugging. You're
it's
bugging.
Algorithm. It's the algorithm. I have a burner account. And on my burner account, because of the things that I do on there, my algorithm on there is 1000% the other direction. Like, all I get on that account is garbage, anti-WWE, fucking JD from New York, losers, Raj, Geary, fucking bullshit on that account. And it's because I spend my time...
Alfred cheese splatter.
The cheese guy. I spend my time on there just arguing with him. I just have fun. I'll just be blowing off steam on there. So that's what my algorithm is giving me. Just anti-WWE guys and AEW fans who defend it by fighting them and saying, no, this thing is good, this thing is good. So I suspect you might spend some time online doing some arguing and debating with the wrong people, and your algorithm is all fucked up. Because trust me, I see genuinely, like, real AEW fans who actually have concern about the show, and they are always fucking concerned. Oh no, Danny's an actual person. Trust me. You won't be able to find my burner account. I've been doing this internet thing for way too long. I'm not gonna be using somebody's actual name that you can look up online and find. But
like, we found the real Danny Hutchinson. Yeah. But, all right, let's go to the main card because they started off hot with the match that most people have been anticipating. I called it on the THH podcast as well as on our preview, the most anticipated match of the year for AEW, as Kazuchika Okada face Konosuke Takeshita in the semifinals of the AEW 2025 Continental Classic. And this match right here, it had the big fight feel right from the start. The people were on their feet right at the opening bell. Both men stare at each other and circle each other. Okada decides that he wants to extend his hand to Takeshita, who just slaps it away. We get a collar and elbow tie up. We get a tentative start to the matchup, a little bit of mat work. Okada gives a clean break in the ropes, but then he kicks Takeshita in the gut. They trade shoulder blocks, and then Okada goes for the Rainmaker. Then Takeshita goes for the power drive knee. Both men are able to dodge. Flying Takeshita line by Takeshita gives him the advantage. We get a slide, a Russian leg sweep, and then a body scissors by Takeshita as he wrenches on the arm of Okada. Okada eventually gets the break and he rolls to the floor. Okada sends Takeshita into the barricade. Takeshita takes a run up and ends up going face first into a steel chair and then a spiked DDT on the floor. Then we get another DDT in the ring as Okada works over the neck, prepping for the Rainmaker. We get some back elbows in the corner. He tries for another DDT, but Takeshita is able to muscle him up. He gets a suplex, then a leaping Hurricane Rana. Okada rolls to the floor, so Takeshita catches him with a tope con hilo, crushing Okada on the outside. Takeshita takes some time to look out the belt so he knows what he's fighting for. He re-enters the ring, and he stalks to Okada. He hits a big boot and then an exploder suplex and gets a 2 count. But then Okada regains control with a rake of the eyes. He then gets the air raid crash neck breaker across the knee. We get a big body slam, then the falling elbow drop right to the ribs. Then we get the middle finger Rainmaker pose as Okada basically is taunting Takeshita at this point. Takeshita is getting up and getting fired up, pissed off at Okada as Okada sticks the middle finger right in Takeshita's face. Forearms from Takeshita. They start trading forearms back and forth. Okada gets wobbly knees. Then we get a big uppercut. We get Takeshita goes down to his knees. We get a tombstone attempt. Okada's not able to get him up, but we get Takeshita reversing. We get a couple of reversals before Takeshita hits the bastard driver, then a wheelbarrow German suplex, and I thought at that point the crowd was invested in this matchup. We get the power drive knee is reversed into Emerald Flosion by Okada. We then get a Rainmaker that is countered into a Blue Thunder Bomb as predicted by I Make Beats during our preview. Both men are down and the crowd is going crazy. We get a big lariat by Okada, but Takeshita doesn't go down. And for the first time, we see Okada with actual fear in his eyes. Like, I don't know if I can handle this guy. Takeshita refusing to go down. Okada maintains wrist control, but Takeshita hits him with the elbow strike. We get a backslide into the power drive knee, but that's avoided as Okada hits a German suplex. We got waist control. He goes for the arm. We get a struggle for a bit before a Rainmaker attempt is reversed into a Cazadora roll-up for 2. We get the shotgun dropkick by Okada, but Takeshita immediately gets to his feet, but he runs right into another dropkick. We get a Rainmaker blocked into a crazy-looking Poison Rana. Then the power drive knee, the Yamagami for the 1-2, but a kick out by Okada. We get a Raging Fire attempt is countered as Okada grabs, goes to the corner, and he decides to grab a screwdriver. A screwdriver that was waiting for him. At this point, I'm thinking, okay, did Callis betray Takeshita and plant that for him? We would not get the answer to that until the next matchup, which was great. We get a knee to the back of the head by Takeshita, but Okada is able to reverse a German suplex attempt into a Rainmaker attempt. We get a little bit of a struggle, a little bit of back and forth where the referee, I guess they're supposed to do like the Rainmaker ripcord into the referee, so the referee has to turn to avoid it, but they don't even complete that. It just looks so ugly where Okada misses with the screwdriver right in front of the fucking referee, and then the referee just decides, oh, I gotta turn around down because I can't see what's about to happen as Okada runs at Takeshita, hits him with the screwdriver right to the head. Then the referee decides, oh yeah, I actually look now because he's going for the cover. As Okada gets the 1-2-3 to pick up the victory. This was a shocking result. Like I said, the finish was botched. I felt like it was more on the referee than the performers because the referee just made it look so obvious. You're like purposely trying not to look at the whole thing, and it was a little bit of a downer, but I can't deny this match was great up until then. It was just excellent, strong style, New Japan style back and forth matchup. They got over 17 minutes. The Rainmaker counter into the Blue Thunder Bomb was chef's kiss, great stuff. Some of these counters and sequences was a thing of beauty. So I thought this was an excellent first chapter to what these two guys can do together. I gave the match 4.5 stars, but honestly, I wanted this to be a 5-star classic. The finish hurts that, but a lot of that comes down to the fact that they're meeting in the semifinals. Both men are going to be in the 2 Tokyo Dome main events. So a lot of politics and a lot of this is just the first chapter of probably a trilogy of matches between the two Don Callis family members. But this result here should drive forward the whole story that's been going on between Takeshita and Okada before we get a real blow off to this rivalry on a future pay-per-view. So I am optimistic in that part, but no denying that finish does take it down a little bit. So I did give it 4.5 stars, but I loved every minute of it until the finish. John, what did you think?
Yeah, I gotta agree with you there. The match, like the wrestling in the match, to be honest, it's what I expected. I lowered my expectations because when they announced that they would be in the Continental Classic together, when I was still thinking it would be a final, I still thought that because this is an athletic competition, even if they have their first match, unless they do some kind of screwy betrayal or something during the tournament, that it would have to be like the first of a series, because it's like this is not blowing off the tension between them. They're having an athletic competition, and this is why they've bumped heads in the first place. So then you get to put Don Callis in the position of choosing between them after that. So when they announced it was a semifinal, I was like, okay, between that and, even though I believe they announced it as a semifinal because just none of these guys was gonna win, but that combined with the fact that the Tokyo Dome match is in a week, I didn't think they would go like full 30 minutes, kill each other, because they have to wrestle in the Tokyo Dome, which I don't know them personally, but I imagine that they probably hold that a little higher regard than the pay-per-view in Chicago, you know?
I mean, it's two
you know?
Japanese wrestlers. Like, it's the
Right.
Tokyo Dome. I understand.
Right. So I absolutely didn't believe that they would go all the way out, but I feel they did pretty much exactly what I expected until the finish, which the actual screwdriver thing, like, I got no problem with the shit finish. Oh God, that guy, he cheated. I think some people were mad. Like, this is supposed to be an athletic competition. Why would he do that? He's a bad guy. They tend to do things like that. They tend to do whatever they can to win. I simply hate that it botched, like, technically, like the ref being in the wrong position. He had to just turn around. He actually just turned around. Like, oh, fuck, I can't see this. I was like, this is rough. But you know, it was a great match. I can't wait to see it again. I will be at Revolution. I got some seats behind the commentary until fucking AEW Press gets their shit together, media guy. But I'll be in the building, and I imagine that that's where we'll get part 2 or part 3 if they decide to do a part 2 on television. Which there's no pay-per-view between now and March. I wouldn't be surprised if they do something major on TV before that. But here's to hoping, because that I'm hungry for more Takeshita Okada for sure, especially another more aggressive one.
Agreed. Josh?
I thought the match was great. I was surprised that it was the opening match. But I thought the match delivered for the most part. Obviously, people weren't too happy with the finish. It was more of the ref, I would say. I didn't have a problem with Okada cheating. This is kind of what we also said during the predictions where we're like, Okada's going to win. And then, I think it was you, Sid, that said, oh, he's going to kick him in the dick, and that's how he's going to win. So he was going to cheat, right? We had that thought that he was going to cheat either or. It's just he used the screwdriver. That's the difference. But it was the fact that the ref, I'm like, damn, bro. Like, you clearly see that. And I don't know. I think the timing was just off, like, clearly. But damn, he turned around way too fast. And it just made it look off, but I don't think it's the worst thing. I don't think it's the worst botch to say, per se. Shit happens. But overall, I thought the match was great. It was a nice I want to call it a teaser match. Just because I know the next time these guys go out is gonna probably mean more, but then also, it's gonna build up to that. So overall, it was a great match.
We got a comment here. What did I highlight about the crowd here? What you guys think? Dion saying, how did y'all feel about the crowd? I thought the crowd was not great tonight or last night. Quiet most of the night, lack of energy in the arena, random Green Bay sucks chants. What did you think about the crowd, Josh?
I thought the crowd was fine. Nothing over the top. I thought they were fine. Obviously, we've heard louder Chicago crowds. I mean, especially in the United Center. But, I mean, overall, it's not the worst crowd. But I could see where people were kind of like, this crowd is dead. Yeah, I mean, that was my take on it. Really didn't pay attention to the crowd.
I didn't like that. All right, so they were quiet in some moments where it's like, I wondered if it was the pacing because you had the biggest match happen in the second in the second slot. So obviously the street fight suffered from that and then from going a little too long, but that wasn't my issue. My issue was the random distractions. Like, I was like, what the fuck is up with this crowd tonight? Like, all that Green Bay sucks shit. I didn't even know what they were chanting. They were like playing around and just fucking around. I was like, so you guys have the energy. You just want to fuck around. So at that point, I was like, fuck this crowd. So it wasn't about the volume because, I mean, they got loud when it was time to get loud. They got loud for the stars. They got loud for the big spots. They got loud for the things they need to be loud for. They weren't fucking active for Jamie Hayter versus fucking Kris Statlander.
Those ladies had to kill each other to get the crowd to
literally, yes. And it's like, come on. So I get it. The biggest thing that killed me was the random chanting and distractions. Like, what the fuck are we doing?
Oh yeah, because last night there was I think
football game on or something.
Yeah. Packers were playing, and I basically
watching football.
Yeah,
stop watching football.
Yeah.
You're here at a wrestling show. What are you doing?
Yeah, that's all it really was. I mean, because I thought it was random too, but I was like, oh, the fucking game is on. That's why. Because a lot of Chicago Bears fans, these fucking Chicago Bears fans, they think they got something, but they're gonna, Bears are gonna lose either way. So I mean, yeah, you can cheer now. I mean, I don't know. It was just, it was random. I was like, I get that Green Bay is a rivalry. Well, I was like, why the fuck was that a thing? Like, that
should have went to that. You should have went to the football game.
Save the chance to go to that game. Dustin.
Oh no, yeah, because I think because they were playing Baltimore, so they weren't even playing each other.
That was stupid. And that's even more stupid. Dustin says, did anyone think Dustin says, did anyone think the crowd wasn't mic'd up? I had to put my volume up. AEW has had an issue with not miking the crowd properly for over 2 years now.
Or there are announcers. What the fuck is going on lately? Some I don't know if there's a storm or something, but they've had audio issues lately on all their shows. I'm like, what
all
the fuck?
All their pay-per-views, dating back to even All in Texas. They were saying the same thing about that show. Forbidden Door, they said the same thing about that show. Toronto, they said the same thing about that show. But when you talk to anyone who was at the show, they were like, no, we were loud the whole night. So they've had a mic issue pretty much this entire year for sure.
Yeah, because and then there's people who actually been showing it. They show like videos. There's a guy that I follow on X, and I think this year he's focused more on AEW content. So he actually goes to the shows and
Is it Departicus or whatever his name is? The kind of
the big guy with the beard. He has like a beard.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
How the fuck is he getting backstage? Okay, it's like he just makes videos. It just says I like wrestling. Like, why is he in the press conference? I'm sorry.
Oh, because I guess because he's a nice guy. I don't know, but but like when he shows like his videos, the crowd is pretty loud. So I mean, I think it's more of a. I think they've always had a mic issue because every time I see them, when people go, crowd's dead, but then everyone who's there, they're like, oh no, it's not. Like,
but it's commentary. It's commentary too. Like sometimes commentary volume goes like up and down during the show. Like, what the fuck are we doing back there? Producer man, director man, get your shit together.
Yeah, I agree. We got a super chat donation here from Adrian Carpenter, who says Rosenberg accomplished his goal as a WWE employee. Instead of talking about how great World's End was, y'all talking about him. Don't get baited. It sounds like you got baited because no one was talking about Rosenberg. Everybody was talking to Rosenberg about how great World's End was. That was the response to Rosenberg. Rosenberg did not accomplish his goal because he did not expect to get ratioed like he did on that post.
I had to put him on blast. I was like, man, I was like, I'm gonna make this into a thing. I was like, I'm gonna give this a headline because this is fucking like literally everybody just said you're a fucking dork. You're a fucking dork. Exactly.
And you're a WWE fed soldier. That's not accomplishing your goal. If everybody if everybody just looked at you and like, you're stupid. We love the show. That's not them like distracted from how great the show was and focusing on him. That's them focusing on how great the show is in spite of him, in his opinion.
I mean, hey, I'm just glad that he used that as a super chat because, man, you just try to defend Rosenberg while using a super chat while being wrong at the same time. So I want to say thank you for defending this.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
I just want to say too, like I always thought Peter Rosenberg was a fucking dork, not even wrestling related. I've been listening to Hot 97 since I was a fucking child. Okay, Peter Rosenberg's music opinions, his hip hop opinions are just as fucking dorky as his wrestling opinions.
And the whole reason why he got kicked off of Hot 97 is because he was a fucking hypocrite. Where he's talking about being anti-MAGA, but he's working for WWE.
What, bro? Don't even get me started. Sitting on that Hot 97 show with the nerve to talk about, we're anti this, anti that, and then walk up and take your check from fucking motherfucking triple Donald Trump himself. Like, don't play with me, man. I can actually now, Adrian, you're probably right because I done given this motherfucker too much attention already.
Now we can move on. We got to talk about this matchup here, the second match on the card, the second Continental Classic semifinal. Like I said, going into the show, Okada and Takeshita was getting all the attention, but coming out of the show, this is the match everybody is talking about. Jon Moxley going one-on-one with Kyle Fletcher. No Don Callis at the commentary desk for this one, and it was I love the way they sowed the seeds for all the story that they were going to tell in this matchup. Because commentary, when Fletcher makes his entrance, they specifically tell you, they were like, Kyle Fletcher has been so focused on this matchup. Well, no, it was Renee. Renee says Kyle Fletcher has been so focused on this matchup that he did not even watch Okada versus Takeshita. He's so focused on training and getting ready for this matchup, he did not even pay attention to the other semifinal, which would pay off in the end of this matchup. That was brilliant storytelling, setup, and delivery by the commentary and by the performers in the matchup. Early on, Moxley gets the advantage with a chop to Fletcher. Fletcher heads to the floor to recuperate. Mox goes after him, and he works over his arm and then bounces his face off the announce table. Back in the ring, though, Fletcher hits a scoop slam. They trade hard strikes in the corner. Then they go out to the outside. Fletcher sends Moxley into the barricade. More elbow strikes back and forth. Moxley tries to take Fletcher up the steel steps, but Fletcher traps Moxley's bad leg, the leg that has been affecting him ever since his rivalry and series of matches with Kyle Fletcher, with Kyle O'Reilly, and that has been affecting him throughout several of his matches in the C2. He traps that leg in there, then he drop kicks, he sandwiches the leg in between the steel steps and the ring post. Then Fletcher, basically when he's moving the steel steps, Moxley falls forward and fucking cracks his tooth on the steel steps. Oh my God. This shit just added so much to the matchup because all you see is the blood trickling. And then when he opens his mouth, you see that he's missing a piece of his fucking tooth. The rest of the matchup, though, has Fletcher going after the bad leg. Moxley is able to escape a half crab and hits a desperation cutter out of nowhere. Moxley hits a tope con hilo to the floor, and he looks like he's got things under control. But when he comes back into the ring, Fletcher catches him with a Michinoku driver. Fletcher with some big boots in the corner, but Moxley comes out and hits a big old lariat, turning him inside out. Fletcher gets up and he axes for another, and Moxley is about to deliver one, but Fletcher delivers one of his own. Running lariat this time knocks Fletcher down, but Moxley's ankle is seemingly shot at this point. They go face-to-face and trade forearms. We get a jab by Moxley, elbow from Fletcher, shotgun dropkick. He goes to the corner, does Fletcher for mounted punches, but then Kyle gets dumped onto the apron. Running kick is caught, though, as Moxley then swings the leg to smack him face first into the apron. He goes for a curb stomp on the apron, but Fletcher is able to reverse that. He gets Moxley and hits the sheer drop brainbuster on the edge of the ring frame. That had to suck. Back in the ring, Fletcher is in full control. Moxley's able to get back into the ring before the count of 10, but then Fletcher takes advantage. He hits a Liger bomb that only gets him a 2 count. He goes straight to the half crab, the single leg crab once again, and the crowd is on the edge of their seat. They're like begging for Moxley, rallying for Moxley. They notice on commentary, Bryan Danielson mentioned that Moxley got more cheers than boos during his entrance, and throughout this matchup, it just felt like the crowd was going more and more rallying in the favor of the former AEW World Champion. Kyle applies pressure to the back of the neck with the big boot in the single leg crab. Fletcher drags him to the center and then wrenches back. The crowd is desperately rallying for Moxley to escape. Instead, Moxley's able to escape into a rear naked choke. He gets the rear naked choke, the bulldog choke. Fletcher got caught. That was a nice little transition there. Fletcher then gets the ankle and he tries to apply an ankle lock. I love at the beginning of the matchup, they did mention that Fletcher probably has been training with Josh Alexander to get ready for this matchup and go after the leg. The crowd is going absolutely nuts when he goes for this ankle lock on Moxley. Moxley's wrenching in pain. He's trying desperately to get to the ropes. When Moxley gets to this rope, you would have thought this was a New Japan match because the crowd went crazy, went insane when he got to the ropes. Fletcher stomps Moxley down in the corner, then lifts him to the turnbuckle. He's going for the brain buster, but Moxley's able to bite him and escape. Eventually, Moxley gets a bulldog choke, and he transitions that into the Heaves neck. That's what my reaction was when he hits a bulldog cutthroat suplex off the top rope and Fletcher lands directly on the back of his neck. Thank God for those young Australian necks. My God, that was disgusting. Fletcher's able to get to his knees, but Moxley then curb stomps him right on the top of the dome piece. He gets a near fall on that. Fletcher is able to reverse things. He gets a crucifix for a 2. We get a half and half suplex by Kyle. Then he hits a knee strike, but that only gets a 1 count as the crowd is going crazy at this point. We get a running haluva kick in the corner by Kyle. He then hits the sheer drop brainbuster in the middle of the ring. 1, 2. Moxley kicks out at 2.99. We get both men to their feet. Moxley slaps Fletcher. Then Fletcher responds with a hard lariat. He flips off the crowd who are solidly behind Moxley at this point. Fletcher then goes to the ropes, but there's no screwdriver because, like they said at the beginning, Okada took it in the first matchup and Fletcher was not watching the match. So he's freaking out. He can't find the screwdriver. When he gets back to Moxley, he gets a near fall with a 2 count on a small package, the same way he beat Orange Cassidy. We get a bulldog choke transition into that. Then he's able to hit the paradigm shift 1-2, but Fletcher kicks out at 2.99. Fletcher, Moxley going livid at this point. He picks up Fletcher, drops him on the head with the Death Rider. 1-2. Fletcher kicks out at 2.99. Again, it's like, what's it's going to take to be either one of these guys? Then Moxley locks on a sleeper hold. Kyle tries to fight. He gets to his feet. He gets up, but then he drops down to his knees again. Fletcher hands are dropping. He desperately doesn't want to quit. He even stops the referee's hands catching it, but then he just fades away. He turns purple as Moxley locks it in, and the referee calls for the bell. We get the referee stoppage. Jon Moxley advances to the Continental Classic final in an absolute epic encounter. This was one of the best matches of the year. The drama, the storytelling, the emotion, Moxley getting this crowd behind him, a redemption arc before our eyes in this single matchup. Everything that's been building in the Continental Classic with Jon Moxley cutting these babyface promos, putting on these babyface efforts against Claudio Castagnoli, even against Takeshita. And then here, this is one of the best performances I think Jon Moxley's ever had in an AEW ring. And he just made Kyle Fletcher look like a wrestling machine who could not be put down. It literally took him having to choke this man out to finally get the win. It had the slow start, but just kept building and building and building. And this was another case of Kyle Fletcher proving he is one of the very best wrestlers in the world, and Jon Moxley cementing his spot as arguably the GOAT of AEW. 5 stars. Easily. This is a 5-star instant classic. Post-match, Kyle Fletcher gets pissed off with the referee calling for the bell because he did not quit. He did not quit. You called for the bell. I did not quit. I was not passed out. I'm up. I'm up. He then attacks Moxley in the back of the knee. So Moxley goes into the finals with an even more damaged left knee. Man, what a fucking matchup. I did not expect that to be as epic as it is. And Kyle Fletcher solidified he was the MVP of the 2025 Continental Classic. John, what did you think of this one?
It was incredible match. Just like you, I went 5 stars like immediately. Like I was like sometimes I'll see a match and I was like, that was incredible. I might see it again to see if it was 4.75 or 5. As soon as the bell rung, I knew there's 5 fucking stars, but it was more than that. Excuse me, I have to disappear for 1 second, but I'm here. It was more than that. There was several layers of booking that went into making this one, creating the environment around it. That was incredible. Like the crowd environment, like that was a direct result of the booking. Then the way that Okada screws over both Takeshita and Kyle Fletcher in one fell swoop in a match that happened 30 minutes ago. Brother, that's a masterful shit. Like, yeah. I had already talked about how, like, the slow burn booking of Moxley's babyface turn was like, it would have been really tricky, and like to pull that off is already something to give kudos to. But he already had that shit going for him before this match. To throw in the screwdriver thing, that was like, fucking, that's Booker of the Year right there, man. That's Booker of the Year. Get him in a chat. I've been saying this shit. I say he clinched that shit in July, but after this, come on, man. I don't think a lot of fans are gonna realize just how goated that was. Like, that's so fucking advanced, bro. I don't know. That's just 6 years. TK been doing this shit 6 years. Did you come up with that by yourself? Like, did somebody help you with that? Like, I would love to know who was involved in the telling of this Jon Moxley story and the way and that little Don Callis family twist right there. Because, in my opinion, I think that this whole show was just chapter. If TK is booking on this level, I think that we're headed towards some Don Callis family versus Death Rider shit that they're going to turn around to connect to the beginning of Don Callis' whole character. I think Don Callis is going to reveal he built this army to fight the Death Riders because of the cut on his fucking head from all those years ago. I think that this whole thing is going to come around, and Jon Moxley fighting and beating both Don Callis family dudes for this Continental Championship, I think is going to pay off even further down the line. And if that's the case, he's going to get that Booker of the Year again in 2026. Because this shit right here, man, fuck. Like, this was masterful. Like, that's why I was like, this is not only like a match of the year candidate. Like, this was a final piece of evidence that man right there has matured into a fine wrestling booker. Cool, kudos. Like, if I don't hear fucking Bubba Ray Dudley and these busted open motherfuckers talking about this shit, then I'm truly gonna lose faith in these legends, supposedly. Because how are you not seeing this? Like, how are you not seeing this? You're supposed to be smarter than me. You've been doing this for 30, 40, 50 years. You've been working behind the scenes. How are you not seeing the genius of a move like this? How can you not call that out? If you don't call that out, I have no faith in your knowledge. No matter how long you've been doing this, I have no faith in your knowledge anymore. So I'm going to look around and see what some of these reactions are, because fuck, that was beautiful shit.
Awesome. Incredible match. Josh, what did you think?
Oh, the match itself, man, it was incredible. Both guys worked well together. I enjoyed this more than the opening match for different reasons. Both matches were great for their own way, their own, they both had different styles of matches. I like this one more just because of how it amplified, especially that screwdriver spot when Kyle Fletcher was looking for it, he couldn't find it. Which, in one way, I like that aspect. It was cool that they added that, but then it kind of makes Kyle look like a dumbass. Because I'm just like, were you just backstage and not watching the first match to know who you might face? Because
they set it up. They set it up with the Renee comment right before the matchup that he's been focused and training for this matchup.
Yeah, but I was just like, man, that's your fault. I was like, but like, that's what makes it funny. Where it's like, damn, bro, you should have been watching the match. That's your fault. Like you fucked up. But I like the fact that they did use that. That they did use that, because I was like, yo, once that happened, I was like, oh, Mox is winning. Mox is winning, because I'm like, you can't have him win while he was trying to look for the screwdriver. Like, that's the whole point. So I thought they did that great. And then the finish itself, I thought the finish was great because, again, it still makes Kyle look good no matter what, because he was still playing into his heel character because he was trying to find a weapon. But then the way Mox had to beat him was like he had to make sure the man was out. And then Kyle, there was about twice that he was still up, like, he was trying to get out of it. And then they took that last one that his face just turned completely fucking purple. And then, he passed out. And I did like the fact that he's complaining to the ref, and the ref had to tell him, like, no, you're fucking out. Like, you're like, no, like, you were done. Like, what the fuck you mean? So I did. I liked everything about it. How the match went, the storytelling in the match itself. And I thought that the Continental Classic this year, I thought that kind of amplified a lot of the matches where the storylines going on and some of the storytelling in the matches itself. It just wasn't just banger matches, but there were continuing storylines going on. There were things in the match itself that was going on that made the matches matter, made almost every match matter. And I thought they did that. I thought they did a great job when it comes to that, because even the first match, again, the rivalry that's going on between Takeshita and Okada wins, but he won dirty. And then this one, Kyle was trying to win dirty, but then because what happened, he ended up losing. So I like that aspect of both matches when it comes to that.
I'm gonna say something that maybe, I don't know if it's a hot take, but lately, I mean maybe it's because I'm an old man now, I guess. All right, so background. about me is that I mean, I don't have the autographs next to me. I would have slid them right now. Wow. I love my favorite era in professional wrestling ever is late 1980s to late 1990s All Japan Pro Wrestling. That's where my heart is. Those are the kind of matches that will always speak to me. Those are the kind of references that will always pop me. However, the thing about that style was that the increasing aggression and dangerous nature of the match, it just kept on escalating and escalating and escalating to the point where they couldn't, they were just doing like super move. Like people talk about like the late 2000s Misawa versus Kobashi or whatever. That was like 10 years of escalation. That's why if you watch 2003, they're doing super move after super move after super move, because for the last 10 years, they've been developing a rivalry where their regular moves no longer work. And the crowd one is now no longer going to react because they know that you've created a super finisher for this guy. So your regular finisher doesn't work. So as things escalated, the injuries became more and more. Kobashi lost his knees, Kawada his arm, fucking Misawa eventually lost his life. He died in a wrestling ring. He died in the ring, taking a regular suplex, his neck decapitated on the inside of its skin. That happened from years of taking those bumps. And you don't get a concussion. You don't technically break your neck. You can still walk, so you're okay. And you just do it again. And again and again and again and again and again. So I love watching those matches, but I know how it turned out. Right? It's scary. So when in an AEW, I've noticed it's happening. And it's not even like, when they did it in All Japan, it was almost by design. And then we found out at the end, God, that was a bad thing. In AEW, it's kind of happening naturally, where it's like the moves are getting increasingly dangerous because everybody is just wanting to top each other, top themselves. That's like, it's getting scary now because that and like, who the fuck am I to be like, Jon Moxley and Kyle Fletcher should not have done a half and half suplex off the top rope, because I don't believe that they intended. It
wasn't even a half and half suplex. It was a cutthroat sleeper suplex off the top. There's no way to do that safely.
And I don't believe that they intended for Kyle Fletcher to land on his head. Like, I think he was trying to get the rotation. Like, I think he was trying to get over to his belly, and he ended up landing on his fucking head. But they're it's getting scary, and I'm kind of wondering, like, I don't want to be like, they shouldn't be doing those moves in these matches or whatever, but I'm like, how can we fix this? I don't want to lose wrestlers, like, I don't want them to die. I don't want them to get paralyzed. That's the last thing AEW needs too, like, as a brand. Like, everybody's always saying how dangerous they are, this and that. Fuck, the last thing they need is for somebody to paralyze themselves, because they're not going to get the goodwill that other companies would get if someone gets paralyzed or someone falls on their neck, and they're just gonna try to hold it against them forever. I just feel like there's got to be something. Maybe, I don't know, maybe the top stars or something have to kind of be a little more. It sounds so weird to say for me. I think responsible.
It's gotta be someone like Kenny Omega. Like, Kenny Omega gotta be like, yo, all the rest that I did in Japan is coming back to haunt me now. Bryan Danielson. You got to have the people that is really being affected by these type of moves and the risks that they've been willing to take over the last like year or two to really say something and really kind of have that coming to Jesus moment of like, we don't need to do this. We can still have these exceptional great matches without trying to outdo each other and drop each other on the neck, like these crazy spots that, like that cutthroat driver in this one, and then the a couple of the bumps in the Statlander hater match. You don't need to do it to basically outdo the next person.
King Crusher scared the shit out of me. I was like, I didn't even know you knew what a King Crusher was. Ah! Oh God. Yeah. No, I mean, like I said, it's gonna get a pop out of me, and it got a pop out of me immediately. I was like, what the fuck? Like when Ospreay did the Tiger Driver 91, it got a pop out of me immediately. Oh my God. But then I sit down and I think about it, and I'm like, oh, I feel a little bad. Like, is Kyle Fletcher okay? Like, yeah, he doesn't have a concussion, sure, but like, is he okay? No, like,
Yeah,
you know,
I just want to know. And I saw somebody in the chat said like, "Oh, Kyle should have sold it more, or he needs to work on his selling."
Jesus.
No, honestly, that put over the whole thing I've been saying for the last couple of weeks. Kyle Fletcher is the new wrestling machine. He's the guy that can wrestle any type of style, and he's the guy that can get dropped on his head and then start hitting brain busters and Aluva kicks a minute later. That's who he has been built up to be, especially in this Continental Classic. We got a few super chat donations to read here. We got first Chilling with Chase, who says, "Big money Mox got him at a plus 115 on Bet Online. When in doubt, trust in the ace, sharing the love of these winnings." Thank you so much, Chase, for the super chat donation. And
Nice.
I've been saying it for a long time. When it comes to wrestling betting, Chase is the man that y'all should go to. Y'all need to hit him up, and he will tell you what's the good bet to go for, because it's multiple times either in the chat or if he's been on the review, he's told us of these big money underdogs that he's paid off on. So listen
That's
to Chase.
it's such an interesting thing that I just have no idea about, which is crazy because I feel like I know a lot about wrestling. I don't want to be like overconfident or whatever. I feel like I know enough about it. Like I'm usually able to predict the direction a show is going to go in. Like how the fuck do you get into this kind of wrestling betting? Because I know it's not going to be as simple as like choose the winner, right? I'm sure it's like who's how many chair shots or like shit like that. But that's an interesting thing to look into. I don't want to say I'm going to become a gambling addict, but I am definitely going to look into that because responsibly, of course.
Pique your interest. Pique your interest. We got another super chat donation here from a new name in the chat. Good to see you, Web Surfer Guy, who says, "Didn't think I would enjoy the CC tourney so much. I feel like this is by far, especially after this match, this is the best C2 they've ever done. Like last year was exceptional as well. I think last year's final was better than this year's final, but overall, this year's tournament, the stories, the matches, the elevation of talent, this was a 10 out of 10 tournament for me. Probably the best in my eyes after the final matchup. I was like, even though it wasn't as great as I thought it would be, I was still like, that was a great conclusion to the best tournament AEW's ever put on.
Yeah, hard to disagree with that. I feel like even Tony Khan himself feels like this was the best C2 he's put together, and which is insane. I mean, no Osprey, lost Darby, no more Bryan. Fucking that's insane. Kenny wasn't in the thing. You know, like they don't even put all their top stars in like the G1. So it's like this is fucking what a success. Kevin Knight's gonna come out of this with raised stock. I feel like an person that's not gonna get spoken about enough is him. Like he's gonna come out of this with a win over fucking Kazuchika Okada. You know, like come on, this is great. This is a success on every level.
Agreed 100%. We got also another super chat donation. Thank you so much, Web Surfer Guy and Chase and Short King the Goat with a super chat donation talking about what John had to say. He says, "Great point about Death Riders versus Callis fam. I'm intrigued." And you kind of alluded to it, but Don Callis also brought that up in the promo before the main event, that he's had this personal vendetta against Jon Moxley since he stabbed him in the head. So we'll see how it pays off in 2026, because they have been teasing that a lot lately. Don Callis family versus the Death Riders. And finally, we got one last super chat donation before we get into our next matchup from Michael Allen Lewis. Thank you so much, Michael Allen Lewis, for another super chat donation. Appreciate you, good sir. He says, "Love how Mox never wore the AEW title because he saw it as SS guys posing, talking about star ratings and paychecks, but the C2 belt he'll wear because he respects what it represents."
That's
Great storytelling.
Twist. I like that.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that part of it. That's really good. He literally said on the microphone, like that's not conjecture. Like that. He said that. So that I like that. That's real good.
Yeah. Great storytelling, and we'll get into the final in Jon Moxley's second matchup against Okada later in the review. Next up, we had the AEW World Tag Team Championships up for grabs in a Chicago street fight. FTR defending against the Bang Bang Gang. Both teams immediately come out and they go to blows right at the opening bell. The fight goes to the outside. We got people getting ran into the barricade. The fight goes up the ramp with Cash and Austin Gunn fighting on the ramp for a bit. Big suplex by Cash there. We get trash cans and steel chairs and tables all involved. At one point, the FTR put one of the trash cans on Austin Gunn's head and start ramming and start beating the crap out of him with it. They did a nice little double team where they do a backbreaker into the elbow drop, but they use the trash can at the same time. They bust open Juice Robinson. Juice Robinson had a nice little blade job in this one. Eventually, though, the Bang Bang Gang are able to get back into the matchup. Juice starts fighting back, going after both guys with the left hand from God. We get Gunn. He blocks a kendo stick shot with a trash can lid, and then he ties it to his back like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, and he does a dive onto Cash, but Cash is able to dodge it. He sends Austin Gunn into the Spanish announce table. We get a chop block by Cash as Dax and him are basically brutalizing the surgically repaired knee of Juice Robinson. They lock him into the reverse figure four that beat them at Holiday Bash in Manchester, but Juice is able to get to the ropes. He struggles to the ropes, but Cash helps drag Juice back into the center. Eventually, Austin Gunn is able to throw in a fire extinguisher into his partner, while Cash Wheeler does the most insane suicide dive I think I've seen into the table. I was like, this man killed himself. We get Juice, who is on the loose with the fire extinguisher. He uses it to get out of the reverse figure four. He then uses a steel chair to attack both members of FTR. Eventually, Stokely Hathaway gets into the ring after Juice hits the Juice is Loose on Dax, and he has the cover. He has the 3 count, but Stokely basically pushes the referee and pushes him down. We get a shatter machine from FTR, but Austin Gunn is able to break up the cover. Low blow to Cash, and then Dax with a power driver to Austin Gunn onto a trash can. He gets the 1-2, but a kick out. Eventually, they get Austin Gunn alone. We get the shatter machine on Juice, and he's out of it. We get back-to-back spike power drivers, one on the mat, and then the second on the AEW World Tag Team title belt as they bust open Austin Gunn and pin him for the 1-2-3. This was a good matchup. I just think it went a little too long. This went nearly 17 minutes. I think that if it was less a little filler at the beginning with the brawling and they made this a little bit tighter, maybe like 15 minutes, 14 minutes, this would have been a better matchup. But man, you can't deny that they went out there and they just beat the crap out of each other in this one. So a fun brawl for what it was. I gave it 3.5 stars. What did you think, John?
Yeah, it wasn't a bad match at all. Again, it's probably a little too long, especially in that spot. But I feel like maybe they expected to work to get the crowd back, and then it just didn't happen. They kind of had them for a little bit, but it started to fall apart at the end where they were like fucking things up, and they went to go for like the shatter machine, and Juice couldn't get up, and there was a couple of real fucked up shit there at the end. I was like, take it home, please, take it home now. Yeah, it's unfortunate, I guess. I the crowd really just never got into it, and they just made a lot of the work that they were doing look. Sometimes I feel like it doesn't matter how hard you're working, when it's dead silent, it looks rough, you know. So
I didn't even mention Stokely's freaking table box.
Oh my god!
Where he gets pushed off the apron with the chair, and he's like a plate that you slide across the table, and you slide it too far, and he just goes off the table and it collides in the announce table.
By the time we got to Stokely, that was like the 4th person to almost break their neck in the night. I was like, what the fuck is going on tonight? Dang, like he fell and he missed the table, and he almost goes head first into the announce table, and then the table just falls on top of him anyway. And then they left him there. They just they
didn't even go get him at the end. I was like, god damn, they turned on Stokely.
He just left him there. Just good stuff though. but they tried. They worked hard. Can't blame them.
Yeah, Josh.
I thought the match was fine for the most part. I do agree that it got to a certain point where it was like, damn, like I would have wanted more for these two teams. They had some good stuff. This guy almost killed himself, and I'm just like, damn, bro, like, why is it? And it's always the same guy. It's always Cash. Like, why does he do these things? But I thought the match was fine for what it was. Obviously there were some things I was like, oh shit, that looked pretty rough. And then the Soki stuff, I was like laughing because I was like, bro, like, how did he not break the table?
Because he's not that big.
Yeah, maybe it's like because he's 120. Maybe it's because he's 120 pounds. Maybe it's because he's 120 pounds. I don't know. But it was like way he slid off. I'm just like, come on, bro. Like, come on. I was like, yo, it was the way he slid off. That's what got me. I was like, yo. It wasn't a fact that the table didn't break. It was that he slid off. I was like, what the fuck? What? Besides, and then they left him. I remember Wendy was on pointed that out. She was like, "Wait, did they just leave him?" And I was like, "I looked at, I was like at the stage. I was like, oh shit, yeah, they left him." I was like, they probably wanted that shit just done, and they're like, "Oh, he'll come back. Like, it's fine. He'll come back.
He'll be fine. He'll be fine. He'll get up eventually." For the AEW Women's World Tag Team Championships, it was Mercedes Moné and Athena challenging the inaugural champions, the Babes of Wrath, Willow Nightingale, and Harley Cameron. This was another match where it felt like the crowd took a little time to get into, but I felt like at the end they kind of got them. This matchup had a bunch of brawling early on. We get Mercedes with a Meteora on the outside. Athena delivers a sliding elbow. Monet misses a Meteora on the outside, and then Willow nails her with an apron powerbomb. Athena out of nowhere, though, hits a tope suicida. Then we get Willow spears Athena as she's holding up Harley after she catches her on a crossbody dive off the apron. Cameron in the ring. She makes the tag. She makes the tag to Willow, who comes in like a house of fire. We get a Tejaras from Willow. We get Athena, who cartwheels out of the Tejaras, and then she just starts going off with power moves. She hits a German suplex on Willow. Then she hits the freaking despicable knee on Willow. I was like, oh my god! Every time she hits that on Willow, it looks crazy. She only gets a 2 count on that one, but then she runs the rope and she's caught with the pounce. Then Willow tags in Harley. Harley comes in with a neck breaker clothesline sling blade to Athena. She almost gets a close 2 count on both women at the same time. We get a Tower of Doom spot by Willow. Then we get Harley, who stays on the buckles and hits a crossbody and then a double crucifix bomb to both ladies. Cameron is pulling out all the stops. Then she tags in Willow. We get a soul flute into a backdrop driver. Willow catapults Athena, but she hits a low angle O-face on Harley. That was a great reversal. Then we get the statement maker on Willow. Monet prevents her from getting the rope break by rolling back in, but Willow uses the momentum to get a DVD. Athena breaks up the cover and hits her own partner. Monet does the same. Then Willow stacks them both up in the corner, running splash, and then a double clothesline. Then Willow goes up top, but Athena catches her. She assists Monet with a double team superplex powerbomb combination. Then she hits basically the statement maker on Mercedes onto Willow for a near fall. We get that's her finishing move by Harley on Athena, taking her out, which leaves Willow in the ring with Monet. Eventually, Willow's able to get the modified pawn hold on Mercedes, and Mercedes has no way to counter. She gets the 1, 2, 3, does Willow, pinning the TBS champion. Willow Nightingale pulling out the win for the Babes of Wrath if they gain the victory here. This match went 13 minutes, and I felt like it was a little bit better paced than the match before. I gave this one also 3.5 stars, but I did think it was slightly better than the men's tag team championship matchup. Post-match, we got a lot of development in the Mercedes downfall storyline, as Mercedes is basically in shock at the loss, and we see Athena basically criticizing her, saying like, "What were you thinking? You lost," and just basically giving her the riot act, while the Babes of Wrath are celebrating with the fans at ringside. Great sign by that person who had basically the Babes of Wrath in Sesame Street. Then we get Mercedes later on in the night. Lexi Nair tries to catch up with Mercedes and get a word with her following this loss. And we get the complete breakdown, a crash out by Mercedes once again. She storms into her locker room and has a complete tantrum, breaking a mirror, slamming down her TV. Then Monet comes back out and tries to act all calm. She doesn't want to talk about Willow. She reminds Lexi, as Lexi says, that 2025 is not ending well for her. She's like, 2025, I was PWI #1 in the women's 150. I was the Sports Illustrated Women's Wrestler of the Year. She is the Ultimo Monet and Willow Nightingale. This Wednesday, I'm gonna beat your fucking ass at New Year's Smash. And it was made official later on in the show that Mercedes Moné will defend the TBS championship against Willow Nightingale this Wednesday, New Year's Smash, the final Dynamite of 2025, which should be interesting. I think it's too soon to run this matchup. I would have liked a little bit more build and maybe this be the TBS championship matchup for Revolution next year, but I suspect that we're not going to get a finish to this one on Wednesday. But like I said, I thought the tag team title matchup was good. Josh, what did you think about the tag team title match and the Mercedes crash out?
The match was really good. I do agree. I enjoyed this one more than the men's, just because it felt better paced. It felt like there was more that I was getting out of the match itself. So, I mean, that alone, I think gave it better vibes. When it comes to the pacing and how it came off, and obviously, they're still telling the story within Mercedes of, not only losing her titles, but she's getting pinned now. She's the one that got pinned in this match. So I thought they did that very well. And I know it's Willow who got the pin. So, I mean, obviously, because there's a rivalry going on between them. And it just added to that, especially that backstage segment, where she was crashing out, and then she cuts the promo, and then the match was made official for this week. So I thought it hit a lot of marks, not only the match itself, but something that's continuing on between the two ladies.
Don?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you on it being too early. I feel like because I don't think Mercedes is going to lose here, but the downfall is still going. And I personally always wanted the Willow and Mercedes thing to come full circle. I did want Willow to get her win back from Mercedes. I wanted it to be the women's the TBS championship, but if they do it here and there's no finish, I guess there's still hope that there's a version down the line where she gets the belt. But I don't think it's going to be on Wednesday.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like Wednesday's the right time to do it.
As far as the tag match itself, though, it was funny because there were moments where I thought, like, oh no, like this is gonna fall apart. Like, and it didn't though. I was like, oh, okay, that's really good. Okay, I don't mind. And of course, the Athena Mercedes too. I'll never understand how they didn't run it. I mean, I know they ran Mercedes Toni Storm, and that was like a big success. I still just felt like it was crazy the way they did this, the way they've done this. It could have been handled. It could have been something. I don't think he ever saw it the way other people saw it, basically. I don't think Tony Khan ever saw the money in Mercedes Athena. I think he feels like he has to put his own effort into other things. And I was like, oh, that kind of sucks. But I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I really feel like they can do way more with Athena and Mercedes with the story that they've told so far between them. So hopefully we get some type of continuation or follow-up from their whole breakdown at the end there when Athena was basically just chewing Mercedes out as Mercedes was in her basically trance that she fucked up again. But next up we had the Yes, it was a one-on-one grudge match was next. Darby Allin going up against Gabe Kidd. This was set up on Dynamite and Collision. And like I love both of these guys. So this match was for me. This match was for me. They went out there and they beat the crap out of each other. And this really, to me, felt like the first time AEW audiences got to see the Gabe Kid that New Japan fans have fell in love with. This felt like a very much Gabe Kid, Darby Allin-esque matchup. Right from the start, they get the hot start. Darby drop kicks him out. Then Kid tries to go for a sleeper. Kid sits Darby on the top rope and then slaps him all the way to the floor. He tosses Darby into the steel steps, then whips him into the barricade. Kid then charges and Darby moves, sending Kid into the barricade. Then we get a tope con hilo by Darby. Both men are down on the outside. We get Gabe basically setting up the steel steps. He puts it in position and he does a slingshot where Darby's head collides with the metal part of the steel steps, breaking it off of the steel steps. And from there on out, Darby is bleeding like a fucking stuffed pig. Oh my God. You got Kid biting at his bloody head, and then he sets him up on the top rope. He looks for an avalanche power driver, but Darby bites his nose and rakes his back and then hits a code red to bust out of that one. Darby eventually busts open Gabe Kid. He sits him out on a steel chair on the outside and does a missile drop kick off the top rope to Kid as they're just brawling all over the place. And this match was an absolute bloodbath with both men bleeding. You would have thought this was the Chicago street fight by the way things were going here. We get Kid, he hits Kid with a coffin drop in the ring, but that's not enough as Kid rolls to the outside. Then Darby does a coffin drop from the top rope to the floor. Both men are bloody messes. The blood is just dripping everywhere. Kid with a masterful blade job. I said this was a masterful blade job because you cannot see his bald head. His bald head is just full of blood. It's just amazing. Then we get Darby in the ring. He locks him in the Scorpion. He gets the Scorpion Death Drop and then locks him in the Scorpion Death Lock. Gabe is able to fight out of it. Darby slumps over forward like he's passing out because he's losing so much blood and exhausted. Kid smacks him with the right hand. Then he hits a headbutt and a rebound lariat. Then he hits the jumping power driver, the drill a hole for a 2 count. Kid pounds away at Darby. He locks on a sleeper, but Darby somehow is able to reverse it, and he gets the Bret Hart cradle pin for the 1-2-3. Darby Allin barely escaping. This is the essence of all thriller, no filler. This was balls to the wall from the minute go, and I felt like this was a bloodbath banger. This is one of my favorite matches of the night outside of the Mox and Fletcher matchup. I gave this 4.25 stars. I enjoyed the hell out of this. What did you think, Josh?
The match was great. Obviously, I expected it to be a bloodbath, to be honest with you. But besides that, both guys killed it. Literally. But I enjoyed it just because, I always like me some good violence. Maybe I'm a sicko. But the match delivered for me. I really enjoyed it. Obviously there's there's a storyline that's going on between the two fellas. It's been going on since last year, so kind of, added it up. But it was cool to see Gabe Kidd, in the singles match, because we haven't seen that in AEW. He's always in a tag team match or like in a multi-man match. So it was kind of cool to see kind of like a showcase for him in front of an AEW audience, and I think he delivered. It was kind of funny because in the rapid fire predictions, I was the only one who picked Darby, and I was just like, you know what, I think Darby, let me pick Darby. He ends up winning. I was like, oh shit, which was pretty funny. But overall, I really enjoyed the match.
John, what did you think about Darby and Gabe?
Yeah, man. I thought that by now I would be more than used to seeing Darby Allin do the things he does, but He does a fucking drop kick from the top of the turnbuckle to the outside of the ring. He not a splash, where he could have like landed in Gabe's lap. A fucking back bump drop kick from the top of the goddamn turnbuckle to the floor outside, like on his tailbone, like, bro. Then the coffin drop. Wait. He lands and literally bounces. There's no give. That is the ground. That is the ground and Gabe Kid. He bounced and splat. The sound of that splat of the human body.
It was nasty.
Oh my God. This man is a sick person. And where I would say, like what I was talking about with Mox and Kyle Fletcher earlier, but I don't even Darby, man. He doesn't seem like the type of guy who would ever change. Like, he seems like uncompromising. Like, this is who I am. This is what I do. This is how I do it. And when he says that he would die doing this, I think he means it. It's just scary. He's a scary guy, man. Like, I love watching him. Obviously, he's so fun to watch. It's like that. It's crazy, but he's a scary fucking guy to watch. Like, Darby is not reckless. That's not the right word, because he's clearly like calculated. Like, he knows what he's doing. Like, he's not going to die. Or he's not trying to die. Like, he's not suicidal, but he's certainly scary. That's the only word I can think of right now.
These were the right two guys to put in this matchup. They delivered for sure. Next up, we had the Mixed Nuts Mayhem matchup. And like I said, a lot of people maybe weren't probably looking forward to the Darby Allin and Gabe Kidd matchup, but I thought that kind of over-delivered. But when it comes to over-delivering on this card, I don't think anything over-delivered quite like this. The Death Riders, Claudio Castagnoli, Wheeler Yuta, Daniel Garcia, and Marina Shafir versus the Conglomerations, Orange Cassidy, and TNT champion Mark Briscoe, along with Roderick Strong and Timeless Tony Storm. And I felt like this was kind of like a palate cleanser that you needed after that bloodbath, after you saw a Chicago street fight, the very intricate storytelling in the Moxley and Fletcher and the Okada and Takeshita build up and big fight feel that they had. The tag team matchup was more of kind of a traditional tag team matchup, tag in and out type of thing. This one was just pure fun. This was pure fun. There was some comedy. There was some violence. This was tornado tag rules and falls needed to take place in the ring. You get Yuta. He tosses Tony Storm to the outside to a huge amount of boos, which really set the template for this matchup that we were going to get a lot of male on female and female on male violence throughout this matchup. Initially, you get Orange Cassidy in the ring with Marina Shafir. Marina gets right in his face, and she tucks her hands in her back pocket as Orange tucks his hands in his pocket. She sweeps his leg out, but he tosses her to the floor nonetheless. Yuta is in, and he takes Orange Cassidy out. Claudio joins in on the assault, and then the Death Riders are basically going ham on the baby faces here. At one point, they basically get into fucking a cheerleader's pose as Claudio has on a camel clutch on Briscoe, while Yuta and Garcia are posing on his back. We get Briscoe taken out by repeated lariat offense. Then Storm shoves Briscoe out of the way of a strike from Marina, and they start doing battle. We get the hip attack that sends Shafir to the outside. Claudio grabs Storm, but Briscoe makes the save. And we get Storm and Briscoe hitting the old school double shoulder tackle of the Briscoe brothers. That was a cool moment for me personally, being a longtime Briscoe fan. Garcia looks for a power driver on Storm, but Orange Cassidy makes the save. Then we get Orange Cassidy and Timeless Toni Storm, who basically get into a whole dance-off. This is like watching a freaking husband and wife as secret agents beating up the villains in a movie, where they just start dancing and they're fending off the Death Riders. They do the spin into a back fist. You get Storm being the one to dip Orange as he kicks Yuta right into the face. We get a German suplex by Storm on Yuta. Then the hip attack is avoided. Storm narrowly avoids an uppercut from Claudio. We get OC delivers a satellite DDT. Then we get Claudio, who fucking hits the giant swing on Timeless Toni Storm. That was awesome. We get a knee strike by Roddy that takes out Claudio. Then we get my favorite moments of this entire matchup had to be Marina Shafir and Roderick Strong giving us live domestic violence. First, we get the Death Riders doing chops on Roderick Strong, and Marina gives Roderick the loudest chop of everyone. Then they go face to face, and this had to be the biggest pop of the entire matchup, where people were like, "Oh my God, it's husband and wife, let's go!" She levels her husband with a big boot to the face. Then we get Roddy, who chops the shit out of Marina's back. I was like, "Oh my God, he's gonna get arrested. That's domestic violence." We get a Storm Zero on Danny Garcia. We get Yuta grab Storm from behind, but OC makes a save for her yet again with an orange punch. We get a hip attack on Yuta. Then Briscoe brings Yuta to the center of the ring. He hits the J Driller. 1, 2, 3. This was an absolute blast. This over-delivered so much. It was chaotic. It was messy fun. The intergender aspect of it just really is the focal point, and it was front and center and just created so many great dynamics. The whole dynamic between husband and wife with Roddy and Marina, OC and Toni working together. Then we get post-match. We get Toni and Orange Cassidy are still dancing. We get Babes of Wrath coming out to celebrate with the conglomeration. We get Mina Shirakawa and Luther celebrating with Timeless Toni Storm, where Timeless Toni Storm picks up Marina, kisses her, and then she picks up the Orange and spins him around. If you don't like this, you don't like goofy fun, which is all wrestling should be about. It should be about some goofy fun. This is what makes AEW, is that it's a smorgasbord of professional wrestling, and this is what this card needed. This is different from anything else on the card. I had so much fun with this. John, what did you think about Mixed Nuts? I'm going to go as far to give it 4 stars. I love this match.
I had such a fun time with this. I guess when you see something about the conglomeration, it's so funny because like when you see them, when I see them announced like as a thing together for a match, sometimes I'm like, I want to dismiss it, like, but it's like when you just take one quick second to look at it a little deeper, it's like, but look at the wrestlers, you know, like look at the fuckers in this group, you know, they're all beasts, and it always comes and then they're against the Death Riders, who also are all beasts. I almost feel like maybe I was not thinking enough when I was the stupid Mixed Nuts name too. Like, goddamn, Tony. But it ended up being everything that you would want from a match like that. And you even got the Roddy Marina Shafir, where they had teased it before, but this time she actually did get to put her hands or her feet on him. And he chopped her in the back of the neck. It's fucking funny. She did chop him. Yeah, that's right. But yeah, this is awesome. This is excellent. I mean, I don't know if I'll go as far as 4 stars. I have to watch it again. I'd go at least 3.75. But that was awesome.
I just had a big smile on my face the entire time. I was like, that was great.
Absolutely, that was fun.
Josh, what did you think?
The match was a lot of fun. And I thought a lot of things worked out well because I felt like each person played a part, like it played to their characters. Obviously, like Orange and Toni, they're funny characters, and I felt like Orange got to show that more, because I think with Orange, obviously we see how he works, right? He's supposed to be a sloth, right? But in AEW, I think we've seen more of like his in-ring stuff. We've seen what he could do in ring. We haven't seen as much as the comedy stuff, and I felt like this felt like the OC that I became a fan of in the independent scene. Just doing the funny stuff, especially with Toni. Him and Toni worked so well together when it came to the stuff like that, because it was like so random, but it worked, and I really enjoyed it. I don't mind comedy stuff in wrestling. I just want it to be good comedy. If you can give me good comedy, I'm fine with it. Not forced shit. Like I think like when you do too much of it, or when it feels forced, you're like trying to force people to laugh. I think that's where it becomes cringy, and that's where it becomes like a turnoff for me. But this one, it played very well. When it comes to like the characters involved, like even Wooly Yuta trying to be, he was a shit stick heel, fucking ruining everything every time he got involved in something. Or, Claudio doing the fucking swing on Toni. I thought that was great, because I was like, holy shit, he's learning a fucking swing on Toni. And then the face-off between Roderick and Marina. Not only I thought that was great, but I like the fact how commentary, they kind of like sat there and they were quiet, because the fans know, majority of fans know their husband and wife. But in commentary, they don't give that away. Like, they don't even mention it once. But when they were face off, they're like, uh-oh. And they let it play out. So, Marina kicked them, and then fucking he did the chop on her back. That was mad funny. So I thought it played it very well. Like, it was very subtle, but I thought it did both of them. Like, it was favorites for both of them. And I had the BCC winning, but I wasn't mad that the congregation won. I wasn't mad at it. It was a fun matchup. It definitely over delivered. Even though a lot of people are involved there, I mean, they're good talent, right? I do like the fact that it wasn't tag. I do like the fact that it was tornado tag. I like that fact. I thought that made it better, in my opinion. I mean, overall, I like the match. It was a really good match.
1000% agree with this comment. This felt like the Big Man Dog saying this felt like the first match since the C2 matches that the crowd was sincerely into going in. Yeah, they come alive because they view Toni Storm as the star, and Marina Shafir has gained so much aura throughout the Death Riders run.
Yeah, they are so into Marina Shafir that I'm like, that Toni Storm Marina Shafir one-on-one match is gonna have a lot of heat. Like, that's gonna be really good. This gonna be the biggest test for how much Marina Shafir has grown. I always say, like, I enjoy her a lot now in this position. Like, Moxley has been like a godsend. Like, and it's like in real life, took her under his wing like that to do that. Like, that's awesome. So I can't wait to see that singles match, just to see. I feel like she's gonna pass the test. I feel like she's gonna have the good match, and people are gonna be like, "Holy shit! Like, this is Marina Shafir now."
What I like about it too, What I like about the Marina stuff is like she's kind of just been the same. Like, this is how she's always been, where she doesn't talk much. She's supposed to be a badass, but I felt like it works because now, like, you see more of it because of who she's lined up with. Like the fact that they were using Mox as like a kind of like a vessel to try to like, create something for her. It's worked, right? While she hasn't even had to change that much of her. She'll say like certain things. She'll talk like certain times, but when she does talk, it means something, right? So I thought when it comes to that, I thought they did, they've done well when it comes to that, to the point that it's like, oh yeah, this is the badass chick that a lot of people were hoping for, and now we're seeing it.
This is gonna be the inadvertent domino that leads to Ronda Rousey's All-In 2029 main event match. Like, you're gonna be like, how did we get here? It was this. It was Jon Moxley. It was Jon Moxley taking Marina Shafir and giving her to a world or Toni Storm match, which is, I mean, the equivalent, almost a world championship match. She's like the biggest star in the damn company. And Ronda's gonna be like, damn, you look like you're having a lot of fun. And she's gonna be like, this is what you wanted to do from the beginning. This is the kind of wrestling you always wanted to do. And Ronda's gonna come and she's gonna rediscover her love of wrestling. And by 2029, she's gonna be main eventing all of this. It's gonna be the way she's gonna do it again. She's gonna be the reason the women main event a pay-per-view again.
again. This is why she is our Lord and Savior, Ronda Rousey. But let's go to the AEW Women's World Championship. Kris Statlander defending against the number one contender, Jamie Hayter. We get a quick pace filling out process between the two women. Early on, the crowd it just felt like the crowd once again were dead. It was crazy because they were so into the last matchup, but then at the start of this matchup, they just went quiet again. Hayter misses an early Hayter raid, but knocks Statlander down with the shoulder block. We get a shoulder block exchange from both women, and they just bounce off of each other. Then a roundhouse kick connects. Statlander delivers a guillotine over the middle rope. Then a pendulum moonsault. She misses, but Statlander catches the legs of Hayter and catapults her into the steel steps. We get a back suplex, Statlander with an inside slingshot splash as the fans begin to get into the matchup with some dueling chants. Then we get a scoop slam by the champion. She misses the splash this time, and Hayter clotheslines her to the floor. Kris is back up to sweep the legs and then drag her to the floor before laying Jamie out on the announce table. Hayter with a missile drop kick off the announce desk. Back in the ring, she hits another missile drop kick that connects, then corner clotheslines and exploder suplex that Statlander landed high on her shoulders with. We get a big boot to the chest by Jamie as she gets a 2 count. Then a chin lock is applied now. Then we get Kris, who gets out of it, and she hits a snapmare face buster, a running knee, and then a fisherman's driver. At this point, they're hitting like a lot of quick sequences, and you can hear the crowd kind of getting into this match even more. Both ladies start trading strikes. We get a neck breaker across the knee by Hayter. Then Hayter hits the sliding lariat for a 2 count. We get exploder off the second rope. That gets a near fall. And now the crowd is definitely into this matchup. We get Statlander. She hits a package power driver, but only gets a 2 count. They fight on the buckles again. And then this is probably the moment of the fucking matchup as they fight on the top rope. Statlander eventually gets the control, and she hits this ridiculous looking key crusher, spinning key crusher off the top rope to Jamie. I'm like, you nearly killed this woman. That was ridiculous. Stat doesn't go for the cover. She's just recovering. Instead, she thinks about the Hayter raid, which Jamie reverses. She hits a running knee and gets a 2 count. We get an enziguri from Stat, then a uranagi over the knee, the hate breaker she hits on Jamie. Then a vertical suplex by Statlander, but then she picks her up and she finally hits the Hayter raid. She only gets a 2 count, but then she goes for Saturday Night Fever. But Jamie is able to reverse it into her own version of Saturday Night Fever, and she gets a near fall. Kris looks for a roaring elbow, but Jamie is able to cut her off, and she finally hits the lariat. She looks for the Hayter raid, but Kris Statlander is able to reverse it as she hits her with Saturday Night Fever and gets the 1-2-3 to pick up the victory here. 18 minutes, and I thought they used it very well to pace this out. There was some pacing issues early with the crowd getting lost and not really into it, but I thought the latter half of this matchup, they were just moving. They had some great sequences. They were just dropping each other on their head. This felt like pretty much like a Joshi matchup towards the end of this matchup. I gave this 4 stars. John, what did you think?
Yeah, I'm also gonna have to go 4 stars on this. I thought the crowd is the reason why I can't go more on it, because they were so dead for so long, but the match was so good before they got into it. I was like already into it. I think one of the things that this is gonna sound like a knock on Kris Statlander, but it's not. I swear, I love Kris Statlander. I think she's incredible. I'm so glad that she's champion, and this match was awesome. It's an example of why I enjoy her as the champion. The thing is that the crowd doesn't see her as a star, so it doesn't matter if she has the belt. They don't see her as a star, so you probably have to put her in a position on the card where someone who they see like that would shine, because then they'll want to see her. Like, oh, why wasn't the women's championship in the co-main event or later on the card? I guess you got to kind of create that energy sometimes. You got to be manipulative. You got to play people like puppets. You have to know what they're going to say before they say it. With Kris Statlander, I think you can easily create that kind of energy around her. I think you got to create the perception that she should have more. And then people are gonna want her to have more, and then you give it to her, and it's gonna be big success, and then they feel like they did it. We did it. We put her there, you know. Hey, good morning. And then well, that's basically what I'm saying is you want to manipulate the entire audience into wanting more of Kris Statlander and to see her as champion. I mean, they're the ones I wouldn't. If it was up to me, they would have done all that before she got the belt. But they put the belt on her, so like this is where we are
without
a
build.
So that creates that kind of environment where people were fucking not reacting at all, which really sucks. But they can fix that.
Yeah, I agree. They gotta start putting her matches early on in the card, because that's what was the benefit of her TBS title run. Why her TBS title run, I think, is one of the best in the company's history, is because she was putting out these good matches that were exceeding expectations early on in the card against people like Julia Hart and stuff like that. You need to create that kind of feel again with Kris Statlander as the women's world champion. Josh, what did you think of this one?
I thought the match was really good. I really enjoyed it. I thought, both ladies did great. As far as the crowd, I mean, like, yeah, they really didn't help the match itself when it comes to that aspect. But I thought both ladies, it worked. They worked very well together. I thought we would get the turn after the match, but maybe they're saving that. Maybe they're going a different direction with that. But, overall, I thought it was a good match. And, I was glad that Statlander retained, because I do think she should get like a good, a long reign. I don't know how long, but at least a lengthy one where, she feels important. She feels like an important champion, and, so I thought the right person won.
Yeah, it's basically the old adage, like Power Drive Finisher says here. In short, if you build it, they will come. Like, yeah, we need to stop, and you need to stop kind of trying to blame the fans, because this has all to do with the booking mainly. It's more of indicative of the booking than fan perception of women's wrestling. If Puddins and the companies are not treating women's wrestling as important or as stars, then you're gonna get reactions like this. If you start building it up more, Kris Statlander's not the best on the mic, but feature her more wrestling. That's what got her over in the first place. We need to see more of her wrestling, and maybe she'll get over with these pay-per-view crowds, and especially if you put her early on in the card. We had up next was time for the Continental Classic final. Kazuchika Okada going one-on-one with Jon Moxley for the first time ever. Before the matchup, though, Don Callis and Kazuchika Okada were backstage hyping up the finals. Callis says that history will be made with the first ever back-to-back Continental Classic wins. Callis wants to exact revenge on people who have wronged him. So he wants Okada to leave Jon Moxley laying for what he did to him 2 years ago. Okada says Moxley has accomplished a lot, but he has never beaten him, and he never will. I am the greatest tournament wrestler of all time, bitch. Then we get an absolute banger of a promo by Moxley. Moxley says the C2 is a beautiful thing. Win, lose, or draw, it's about passion. It's about desire and determination. Showing the world what you've given your life to. Okada, you're going to have to kill me to win this. That was simple, short, to the point. And then we got the Continental Classic final. Kazuchika Okada, the AEW Continental Champion, defending the title against the winner, the other finalist here, Jon Moxley. Super special in-ring introductions for this big occasion. Okada and Moxley come face to face. Okada actually offers a handshake like he did to Takeshita in his first match, but instead of Takeshita didn't fall for it earlier, and neither did Moxley, as he gives Okada a little bit of his own treatment and flips him off. Okada gets him into the ropes, and we do get the clean break, but then Okada just flips off Moxley as well, just flips him off back in this one. Then they go back and forth. We get a little bit of a feeling out process before Okada eventually goes after the injured ankle of Moxley. Moxley rolls to the outside to shake it off, but Okada again grounds him when he comes back, forcing Moxley into the ropes. Full Nelson applied by Mox, but Okada picks the ankle yet again. Moxley rakes his eyes to escape. They pie face each other. Okada then picks the ankle once more and he wrenches back on it. Drop kick to Moxley while he's on the buckles, and his boot has caught up on the top rope, causing more damage to the injured ankle. We get a DDT on the floor by Okada. Then Okada brings him into the ring. Well, first he drops him knee first onto the steel steps. Back in the ring, Moxley unloads on Okada, only for Okada to stomp down on his ankle. Moxley delivers a headbutt to escape a figure four attempt by Okada. Then a DDT connects in the ring this time as Okada gets a 2 count. Running kick to the side of the head. Then he hits a slingshot senton, showing off a little bit of his athleticism. He gets an air raid crash neck breaker and gets a 2 count. Okada then hits the falling elbow drop and then does the Rainmaker middle finger pose before Moxley grabs his finger and twists at it. We get a running lariat, knocks Okada down. Then we get a shotgun drop kick attempt by Okada, but Moxley puts the brakes on it and he applies the figure four to Okada before he gets to the ropes. Okada busts out one of his key rivals' moves here as ahead of the Tokyo Dome main event. He hits Moxley with a dragon screw into the Texas Cloverleaf. It took the commentary a while to figure out that he was basically taunting Tanahashi here. Elbows and forearms in the quarter by Okada. He looks for a neck breaker, but Moxley reverses and hits a Got-style spike power driver for a 2 count. Moxley flips him around and then applies a bulldog choke, but Okada's able to get to his feet and his hands drop, but paradigm shift is countered. They almost hit the referee as he cowers, and this allows Okada to hit a low blow, and then he hits the Rainmaker. He goes for the cover, but he's only able to get a 2. Okada grabs the Continental Championship from the outside. He looks to use it, but the ref sees it and takes it away. That allows Moxley a split-second chance to hit a low blow right back to Okada himself, and then he smiles knowing that he got the better of Okada on this exchange. They go face-to-face, and they start basically laying leather, exchanging forearms. We get a drop kick by Okada, but Moxley stands right back up, and he gets a backslide into a Rainmaker by Okada. He maintains wrist control, but Moxley kicks away another Rainmaker attempt, and he hits the paradigm shift. He's too slow to get to the cover, but he does get a 2 count. Moxley then adjusts. He goes for the rear naked choke. He ends up hitting his own version of a Rainmaker. He then picks up Okada. He hits him with the paradigm shift, but Okada kicks out at 1. But Moxley takes advantage. He hits him with the curb stomp. He gets himself hyped up, picks up Okada, drops him with the Death Rider. 1, 2, 3. Jon Moxley pulls off the upset. He ends the 600-day plus reign as Continental Champion of Kazuchika Okada, and miraculously, he wins the Continental Classic final to become the new Continental Champion. I thought this was very smartly worked. It was very methodical at the beginning, working off of the injury from the previous matchup, and the payoff was good at the end with Moxley overcoming the odds, overcoming his injury to become the champion. Not as exceptional as I thought it would be, but of course they were kind of taken back by the classics that they put on earlier in the show. But still a good match, very good matchup in my eyes. I give it 3 3/4 stars, but post-match was even better in my eyes as the Death Riders come out to celebrate with Moxley. We get a big hug from Claudio, similar to the big hug that Jon Moxley gave Bryan Danielson last year in the same building, which had me, I was like, oh fuck, they're still gonna turn on him. Tony Schiavone gets in the ring with a microphone, and he wants to give Moxley a few words about his win in the Continental Classic, and we get a fantastic promo by Moxley here. He says that the title doesn't belong to him. The Continental Championship belongs to everyone who busted their ass, who gave it everything they had in this year's tournament. It belongs to the fans who support pro wrestling. At this point, they range over to the Death Riders, and the Death Riders kind of look confused at what Moxley is saying here. He then says that he owes it to his teammates. It belongs to the fans who support pro wrestling, but it also belongs to the Death Riders. He's not just talking about the people standing in the ring with him right now, though. He means everyone in AEW who shows up every day, every single day, and bust their ass for this sport, for this life that they live. He says that he loves this sport. He loves this Continental Championship, and he's proud to be the winner of this year's Continental Classic. Moxley said he busts his ass every day and he shows up, and that's why he's here as the champion. Moxley slaps hands with the Death Riders. He makes sure to give the Continental title to Garcia first and tells him to hold it up for him. Then he tells it to hand it to Marina Shafir as the Death Riders walk out, with Marina Shafir, who once held the AEW World Championship in a briefcase for 1 year, proudly showing off the Continental Championship as Moxley wins the tournament. The redemption arc, the redemption of Jon Moxley completed as he cuts this babyface promo with the Chicago fans behind him. That was a masterful piece of booking throughout the tournament. The story being told was Moxley kind of overcoming all the difficulties, all the setbacks that he's gotten since losing the world title, and now he is the winner of the Continental Classic. Great storytelling overall throughout the tournament with Moxley here that paid off in the end, and the great conclusion to the greatest tournament in AEW history. John, what did you think?
It's hard not to love this because I know people were expecting Moxley versus Okada to be like another banger, like kind of like the matches that they had earlier in the card, but it was like the end of the tournament story rather than like they already did like there was no surpassing what Moxley and Kyle Fletcher did earlier in the night. And I think doing something entirely different for Moxley versus Okada and giving and ending the whole tournament on this story, like everything had built to this. Moxley's leg selling and his shame from the Kyle O'Reilly and the pain from the Kyle O'Reilly feud and losing the title, and all of this built to Jon Moxley overcoming it all and redeeming himself in the eyes of the fans. And it was just like this, this masterful payoff to the slow burn babyface turn. Like I would argue that it happened in the first match with Kyle O'Reilly, and then it was like cemented in this one with the babyface promo afterwards. And the thing is that it doesn't change like Moxley's character. I don't understand why there's people that don't understand how he could say this after he was saying all those other things. Again, we already spoke about that. Those people don't watch the show, or maybe they don't watch anything but wrestling, because if you watch like movies or you read books, like there's like it's so easy to see the arc. It's so easy to see how we got here. This is Jon Moxley. Everything he said in that promo is the same thing that he believed a year ago. You know, like I have no problem believing that. And that's gonna make for a real interesting moment when he comes to odds with his teammates or whatever. But for this moment, I thought that was real good. And I think we should probably do that Don Callis Family Feud first. I was on my phone when you came back, because as we're on the thing, it's starting to break online that Chris Jericho's gone from AEW, basically.
Ooh, really?
Sean Alba from Sports Illustrated just reported that multiple higher-ups believe he's done with the company and he's expected to go to WWE. I think maybe your friend Alex McCarthy might have mentioned from Wrestle Talk might have mentioned something about Jericho's contract possibly being up on December 31st and him being available as soon as January 5th Netflix Raw anniversary.
Wow.
So that's why I was like, I'm still making the headline here. But yeah, so that kind of broke there. But as far as like that this company's not gonna miss. Like, I love Chris Jericho, don't get me wrong. Like, I respect Chris Jericho. I never fucking look, I'm saying this on camera. I never turned on him like these people turn on him. I never chanted please retire because I never wanted him to retire. I wanted him to fix whatever was wrong. And I think that going to WWE is going to fix whatever was wrong. Yeah. He's going to get a big reaction. It's going to be great for Chris Jericho. There's going to be no fucking, everybody's going to be better off for it. If he gets on his grifter podcast bullshit, though, I'm gonna be so sick because like he was so important to the history of AEW. Like, don't do this. Don't help build the company and then go outside and try to tear it down. Like, that's gonna take away all the respect I have for everything that he did. So I'm really happy for him to go to WWE right now. Like, this is a great thing. I can't wait to see how it turns out. Now, do they have the best track record of retirement runs? I would say they're 0-2 right now, just off of fucking 2025. I don't have good I don't have really high hopes for that. But I'm happy for him to go to WWE and do something new because that's what he's best. That's what he's best at doing, like creating something new when it gets stale. So good stuff.
Absolutely, I agree there. Yeah, this is I see it now. It was first by Wrestling Intel, which is Alex McCarthy's new outlet. Sources indicate Chris Jericho will sign with WWE, and WWE's plans for the return is possibly him debuting at on the January 5th Netflix Raw debut. John Alba just confirmed that the article is up on Sports Illustrated. It says his sources believe he's going to show up on WWE TV very soon. So, Josh, what did you think about the finale of the Continental Classic, Moxley and Okada?
I thought the match itself was okay. I know a lot of people weren't in favor of the match. I was seeing a lot of the reaction to the match. There was a lot of people who didn't like it. A lot of people said that it sucked. There were a lot of people who said that both Okada matches sucked last night. But to me, my opinion, the match was okay. Nothing too crazy, nothing out of the ordinary, but I just felt like it was more of a story-based kind of match where it was something more about Mox and, how the match would go. I still had Okada winning, but the fact they went with Mox, I was shocked. I was shocked that they went that route, and I actually liked it. It was a nice surprise. I actually liked it, and I still thought that they were gonna lean into the turn on his group turning on him, just because like when you hear Danielson on commentary, he was kind of like not only he was dunking on Mox. Right, because he was talking about how Mox, under pressure, he acts like this, he doesn't really do this, and then he mentions the building, like he's like, yeah, they turned on me in the same building, so I thought they're gonna lean into that, but I didn't mind the direction. I liked the promo, I like what he said on the promo, but then also even like those subtle things when you look in the ring. You see like how they were reacting. Some of the members were reacting. Marina was shaking her head. So you kind of still thought like something might happen just because of like you see what Mox was saying compared to their reaction. It was a little bit, it was a lot different, and then Pac wasn't even in the ring either. So I was like, oh, maybe something's still gonna happen. But I kind of like the fact that they let us, they did what they did. They didn't do any. I thought that would have taken away from the promo, so I'm actually glad they're gonna wait on that to see where that goes. But it was a feel good moment. I liked the promo. I liked that's the stuff that he said in the promo. And you could tell his mouth was fucked up from that first match. Because you could see it, not only you could see it, but you could hear it too. Like you could hear that his fucking lip was swollen. But overall, I enjoyed it. I liked it. People who were complaining that it was bullshit, whatever the case may be. I mean, if you want to use the crowd reaction, you could use it. The crowd was into it. I mean, it's one of the louds they were when they were cheering and what he was saying. So I mean, I thought it did its job. The slow burn, heel, face turn. I thought it was happening too, even a while back, even like after that O'Reilly match, and then he paid respect, even though he kind of turned on him after that, like he still fucked him up after the fact. But the fact that he acknowledged him should tell you something different. Like it should tell you something that he acknowledged that, right? So I thought it was building up for a while, and then you see where the C2 was going. You see like when he was winning matches, losing matches, So the fact that we kind of got around full circle and going with Mox with the win, something I'm not mad at. It was interesting. It gives Mox another accolade. It gives him another belt under AEW. So it kind of just tells you how important he's been to the company itself too, right? Now that because we're when the whole thing that Jericho got brought up, I think Jericho was important to an extent, but I think Mox has been one of the most important people overall in the company. As far as the whole Jericho thing, I think it's the right move. I think he's done it all with AEW. I think you're gonna get as far as you're gonna get with Jericho and AEW, and I don't think, me personally, Jericho didn't recover after that rumor that came out a couple years ago. He just never recovered with AEW with the perception. So I think it's a good move for him. As far as what he does with WWE, whatever happens with WWE, it happens with WWE. But if it's a move that he wants to do, he has every right to do that. He's a free agent. He's, that's his prerogative. But I think I do agree with John. I think this is the move best for both parties, honestly. But in regards to how important somebody's been, Mox has been probably the most important person when it comes to AEW. Not only because of his star power, but you look at the situation he was in when he left for AEW. He was in WWE. He could have been complacent, and he could have been that guy, but he knew he was worth more, and he left. And even when AEW started, he didn't have really time off. He just took like less than a month off, and then he showed up to AEW. So it kind of tells you, he wants to not only work right away, but the work that he's put in, right? He's not a guy who talks about himself a lot, Mox. He shows it by what he brings, like what he's doing. And you kind of just see how important he's been for the company.
Agreed there. We got a super chat donation here. This will be hopefully the last time we have to address this. We got Short King the Goat with a super chat donation. He says, did y'all see Peter Hot 97 Rosenberg's Monk's comment? Well, first of all, he's not Hot 97 anymore. He got kicked off the station. And yes, we did. We addressed it earlier in the show, and I am just glad that he got ratioed and demolished for being a cute little fed soldier.
Yeah, there's really nothing else you can say about that other than, you can kind of rewind it. We kind of shredded him a little while ago. It was fun. It was very fun.
He's a massive dork, like Pedro saying in the chat. But finally, it was the main event. Samoa Joe defending the AEW World Championship against the former champions, Hangman Adam Page, Swerve Strickland, who had a nice little Green Lantern-esque entrance here, and Maxwell Jacob Freeman, MJF. We get Swerve and MJF. They go at it while Joe and Hangman go at it right at the opening bell. We get a brawl over in the ringside area before Swerve kicks away at Joe. Then MJF comes in. He mocks the Gritty and then potty slam. Then he takes a run and he does the crotch bump into Swerve's face. Swerve is not happy at all. So he takes down MJF, hits a diving European uppercut. He does the Gritty and then he does the crotch bump to MJF. Then he goes right outside. He hits a Flossberry flop to the outside on MJF. Joe is in the ring and takes a run up, and he does a tope suicida. I was like, all right, go ahead, Joe. Then we get Hangman, who overshoots the Orihara moonsault, and he literally just taps MJF while everybody else has to fall because he just flew over all the men on the outside. MJF sets up Swerve for a heat seeker, but Swerve shoves it off. Then we get Hangman and Swerve inside the ring together, and man, you could hear the crowd like going onto the edge of their seat. They pop big for these two going at it. They circle each other, and then they just start punching the shit out of one another. Hangman goes for the dead eye. That's avoided. Page avoids a suplex attempt. We get a moonsault into a tombstone. Swerve reverses that. Dead eye by Swerve. Then he goes for a house call, but Hangman catches him with a big lariat. He goes for the buckshot lariat, and he nails it. He goes 1, 2, but Joe breaks up the cover. Joe places Swerve on the ropes. He goes for the muscle buster, but Page breaks it up. He hits a fall-away slam on Swerve into MJF while Joe is powerbombing Hangman at the same time. Joe again thinks muscle gets out of it. He hits a leaping flatliner on MJF. German to Joe, and then a backbreaker by Swerve before he hits a big power bomb into a power slam on Hangman for a 2 count. Hangman busts out Angel's wings on Swerve. He then skins the cat and then goes to the outside before going. He hits a moonsault off the apron onto MJF. Then he goes for the buckshot lariat, but Swerve is able to duck it. But then Page hits him with a pop-up powerbomb for a 2 count. Page then gets Joe down in one corner, and MJF stomps the arm of Hangman. We get a water wheel drop on Swerve. Then a buckshot is avoided. MJF misses the heat seeker. He launches Page into a slingshot cutter and gets a near fall. But then he locks on the salt of the earth armbar. But then Joe locks on the Kakina clutch, so MJF has to release his hold to rake the eyes. Then Joe goes for the Kakina clutch on MJF, but MJF gets scared because he realized he was in this same hole 2 years ago, where he gets locked in it. They get down, and then Swerve comes out of nowhere and hits a house call onto both men. Swerve and Hangman, they start going at it. They take each other down with a roaring elbow and insecurity, and all 4 men are down, and that's when the crowd was really into this one. We get a Panama Sunrise on Swerve by MJF. That gets a near fall. Joe breaks it up. Deadeye by Page, but he only gets a 2 count when MJF escapes. We get Joe pushes Page off the apron, and then Swerve comes in with the DDT. He poses and looks for the house call, but then we get the ops coming out to cause a distraction. Joe hits the muscle buster on Hangman, but Hangman somehow is able to get his arm up for a near fall. Hook is pissed. He gets on the apron, causes a distraction. Prince Nana almost gets cornered by Shibata and Hobbs when Swerve hits a swerve stomp to both ops members. The referees take away the ops members while Joe in the ring has the Kakina clutch on Hangman, similar to the finish from Revolution 2024. Swerve comes off the top rope. He hits a swerve stop perfectly onto Joe. Other referees come down. They remove the ops. Swerve goes to the top rope again, but Joe sweeps the leg. Swerve's able to counter. He hits the power bomb off the middle rope. He sets up for the swerve stomp again, similar to the finish from Dynasty 2024. But no, MJF is there. He shoves Swerve off the top rope. MJF then kicks away Page. Page goes for the buckshot lariat, but Joe doesn't go down. He hits him with 2. He goes for the 3rd, similar to the finish from Wrestle Dream 2025, but MJF's able to block it. He hits a low blow on Hangman, taking him out. Then he takes advantage of a wounded Joe. He hits the heat seeker. 1, 2, 3. MJF is your new and 2-time AEW World Champion. I thought this was a great 4-way. I love the dynamics. It was very finisher heavy, but I thought the timing was near perfection. It was all smooth. Everybody was hitting their spots in the right time. The different dynamics, especially like Hangman and Hangman and Swerve in there together, them working together and then facing off with one another. The history between MJF and Joe, MJF and Hangman, Hangman and Joe, Swerve and MJF. This was just a great matchup and really put a highlight on how good the AEW main event scene can be when the bell rings, when they don't have to worry about angles and promos all the time. When it's in the ring, it can be really great. And I thought this was a great 4-way. I give it 4 stars. MJF celebrates with the title. The pyro goes off as MJF stands on top of All Elite Wrestling once again, 2 years from the day he lost the title in 2023. Josh, what did you think about the main event of World's End?
I thought the main event was good. I enjoyed it. All four guys worked all together. Obviously there was a lot of things that were going on. Usually four-way matches, usually, it's one of those things where, not everybody's gonna probably get their time or get to do what they want to do. But for what it was, I thought it was good. Especially that finish. I knew MJF was gonna do some shit because I felt because he wasn't using you didn't see him a lot during the match, and I was like, yeah, I think MJF was gonna win. So the fact that the way they played it off, though, I thought it was really good. Where Hangman was getting some momentum. He was doing the buckshot lariats, and then when it came to that last one, MJF pushed Joe out of the way. Kicked Hangman in the dick, and that's how he won because he took advantage of it. But I thought it played well to that, and then MJF becomes a two-time champion. He gets his title back that he lost 2 years ago. He gets to pin the person who beat him for the title. So I thought it was good. Like I thought that was that made it good. I had MJF winning, and I felt like it was the right move because I always felt like Joe was a placeholder. Once MJF got involved, I was like, yeah, he's gonna probably end up winning. But then you also gotta have the fact that the contract had to mean something. Like you're not gonna have him cash in and then lose because of the way that got presented. He had the title match, because he swindled that shit. He got the title match, and then they made that rule of like, oh, you have to cash it in a week before, and so you got to make it mean something, because Athena already lost hers. Can't have the man lose. Can't have the men or lose theirs. So you had to make it mean something. So I thought that alone made it work out. But again, MJF gets his title back. And we'll see where it goes from here when it comes to his second title reign.
And Dion lays it out perfectly what the AEW could do for the next year. He says, yeah, they're going to pair off here. He says Hangman going to deal with Joe and Hook. Swerve and MJF will feud. Hangman versus MJF at Revolution, 1 year rematch. Omega versus MJF at Double or Nothing. Ospreay versus MJF at All In. And yeah, the finish of this matchup basically put it out clear as day the reason why they did the title change at Full Gear. They wanted Hangman has 2 victories over MJF in 2025 at Revolution and Forbidden Door. They wanted to put the title on MJF and still have that feud kind of simmering and still spin that plate without MJF beating Hangman for the title. And this way, MJF gets his revenge for Joe taking the title from him 2 years ago. So it all worked out in the end. John, what did you think?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. It felt like, well, for sure, I'm okay with MJF being champion. I thought the match was great. I thought it was as good as it could be. I think when you have multi-man matches like this, it's like there's like a ceiling. Like it's gonna be as good. It was as good as it could get. The layout for MJF next year is gonna be interesting. I don't know how certain the Ospreay thing is, especially considering his condition or whatever. Like we don't know how long that it could be. A year, it could be a year plus. It's a neck thing. But it definitely felt like he was meant to factor in a lot more to this world championship situation with Hangman as well as Swerve. And all of that probably was going to end with MJF as champion anyway. Like I feel like the 4-way might have been a little different. I feel like Tony Khan might have had Hangman, Swerve, Ospreay, MJF in the originally planned, and we got here a little differently. But I enjoyed it anyway. We as far as we felt like it was getting booked on the fly, the Samoa Joe thing, the Kyle Fletcher match with Hangman. It definitely felt like we're trying to put something together, but I've had fun. I think it was the best example of Tony Khan having a sort of book on the fly because he's not been good with that in the past. So like I think that looking at this thing as one, from Hangman winning the title to MJF getting the belt, and seeing that they definitely had to pivot. I think this was a good pivot overall. It ended up really well, and they ended up having one of the best years of their fucking entire existence creatively, if not the best year. So I mean, kudos. I'd like looking at the MJF title win as like the end of AEW's year. You have New Year's Smash one Wednesday. This was like a good cherry on top. This is the way to end your year. This was perfect, pretty much. We'll see.
You started off the year with MJF saying he wanted the AEW World Championship back. So it is nice that they all tied together, and it was a year-long storyline with him and Hangman, which was basically them jockeying for a position as the two biggest homegrown stars in company history.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know how long he holds the belt though. I don't know. I feel like they did so many long reigns back to back. They're trying to mix it up. I don't know that he's going to lose it immediately. I'm not so certain. I think it's either him or Swerve drops the title to a healthy Ospreay if Ospreay is available at all. Because Swerve would make a lot of sense because of the last time they were in Wembley and this year at All In Texas with them teaming together. It would make sense for Swerve to try to break his Wembley streak against his best friend. Not for nothing. Right now, they have a lot of world championship contenders. Like they have a lot of guys who could hold the title and be in the main event. And I'm not saying I want to see the belt hot potatoed, but it's 3-4 months. Like, do things. Like, there's so many guys you can have on top. Like, we don't have to have 3-match series every time. You know, like that's cool too. I would like to see that too, but they could also throw some new shit in there. Like, I'm excited to see what they do with 2026 with all this available talent, and then they'll get back Ospreay. You know, like that's crazy. So that's great. It's great shit.
Yeah, I'm very positive and optimistic about AEW in 2026, and a lot of that comes down to this great card that we saw last night. But we've made it to the end of another pay-per-view review. So y'all know the deal. Y'all know the deal in the chat. We appreciate y'all for joining us live. Appreciate y'all if you're watching us on demand. Remember, if you haven't already, drop the thumbs up. Share this video with your friends. If they want a breakdown of last night's show, hit the subscribe button and the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. And of course, sound off in the live chat in the comment section with your match of the night, your MVP, your LVP, your moment of the night. Whether you gave the show a thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle, and out of 10, what did you give last night's show? For myself, John, and Josh, for AEW Worlds End 2025 in 3, 2, 1. Easy thumbs up across the board from all of us. John, out of 10, what did you give the show?
Easy 8. Easy 8. Give him an 8 on the head.
I'll probably give it a little bit more. I'll go 8.5 out of 10. This was on par with like Wrestle Dream Full Gear that I gave 8.5s to. So yeah, I'll give it an 8.5. Josh?
8.5.
All right, we got in the chat, Big Man Dogs gives it an 8. He says this was a very easy watch and had some good surprises. We got I Make Beats, who says he's given MVP to Mox, I think, and match of the night to Fletcher and Mox. We got a thumbs up from Sanjo. We got an 8 out of 10 from I Make Beats. We got a 9 out of 10 from King Husho Mundo. We got Michael Allen Lewis with the 8 out of 10 and Sanjo with an 8.5 out of 10. John, who was your MVP for the show?
Easily Jon Moxley. Just easy.
Jon Moxley for me as well for MVP. Josh?
Jon Moxley.
Across the board, Jon Moxley, and obviously match of the night as well as going to Jon Moxley with the Kyle Fletcher semifinal.
There's no question. There's no question.
Same, Josh?
Yeah.
So we're unanimous on those 3. LVP for the show. Josh, where you going with that?
LVP though wasn't There wasn't really much LVPs for the show. I'm seeing the chat myself trying. Like, why?
He didn't show up. He didn't show up, so he's LVP.
Like, what? That's not how that works.
I'm gonna go with Paul Turner, the referee of Okada and Takeshita.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, you see, that's
For
a
the
good
finish.
One. Yeah,
For the
because he fucked up that finish. Paul Turner.
I'm
For
gonna
sure.
go with all the football fans in the crowd. Fuck you guys.
Oh, let's go. And then we got moment of the night. I am going to go with Jon Moxley's promo after winning the Continental Classic. John?
Oh man, this is getting crazy. Because I was talking all that shit earlier, but that fucking suplex, that suplex off the top rope, god damn, man. I was back in fucking teenage years watching All Japan for the first time. Like, I would just never expect to see that kind of shit in this day and age. Like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Moment of the night. Yeah.
Kill this man. Kill this man. Good God. Josh, what about you?
I'm gonna go with MJF holding up the title, winning his title back. So I'll go with that.
Got to show some love to Maxwell Jacob Freeman, our new AEW World Champion. But that's going to bring us to an end on another pay-per-view review. We appreciate y'all if you're joining us live. Appreciate y'all if you're watching us on demand. You guys have been great. We had almost like 75 people at one point watching the stream. So if you haven't, drop a thumbs up, share with your friends, and comment down below if you haven't already. If you weren't part of the live chat, let us know in the comments down below what you thought about AEW AEW Worlds End 2025. We want to thank John Escudero for joining us, and I'm going to put the invite out here. I want you a part of every pay-per-view review in 2026 from AEW, sir. I think you are the perfect person to join me and Josh for these pay-per-view reviews.
I'll be here. You can count me in.
There we go. You heard it here first. Don, give you the floor. Let everybody know where they can follow you on social media, where they can see your work over at Date Sheet Radio, and anything else you got to plug.
Definitely follow me over on Dirt Sheet Radio. This is my full-time job now. If you press like, I get paid. So please help. No. Yes. No, but Dirt Sheet Radio, man, this is great. We do great pop culture content, pro wrestling content. I'm trying to culture pro wrestling fans. We got pro wrestling news on the top, like as it comes out on the minute. You're gonna get it like second from us, not first, because I don't have any sources, unfortunately. But someday. Dirt Sheet Radio. Follow us all over social media: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We're working on that in 2026. I promise. And Instagram is also paying, so please follow us there. I need to feed my children. Do you see my daughter there? She was really cute, right? She likes to eat.
Yes. Oh, I love it. Yes, support John. He's doing great work over at Dirt Sheet Radio. He's doing great interviews. Got to interview Tony Khan, Will Ospreay this year. He's doing big stuff. So go over and support John. I love what he's doing over there. And of course, you should support him ahead of Revolution because he's gonna be there live. So we get some live perspective.
It's gonna be great. If you like comic books and pro wrestling, check out Comic Book Click, but also be on the lookout for a major interview announcement. We start in 2026 off with a bang. So run on over to Dirt Sheet Radio. Check us out.
There you go. Josh, let the people know where they can follow you and when they'll see you again.
You can follow me, JMPunk321 on X and Instagram. And I'll be back next weekend for our flagship podcast, the first podcast of 2026. So that should be fun.
Indeed. THH 362 next Saturday, 10:05 a.m. Eastern Time. Join us for that. We got our end of year videos going to be dropping tomorrow. Got our top 10 2025 matches of the year that's going to be dropping tomorrow. We got a preview for Wrestle Kingdom on Friday. AE Ramble Rated Raw review will be back this week as well. But we got Men's Wrestler of the Year top 10. We got a Women's Wrestler of the Year top 10 and moments best moments of the year top 10 that's going to be dropping here on the channel. And of course, we got Wrestle Kingdom coming up next weekend, and we'll be doing a review of that next Monday as well. Also, Tru Heel Heat Sports and Entertainment, we got Power Book 4 Force Season 3 reviews that's going to be dropping on that channel, as well as Stranger Things Volume 1 and 2 review, and I'm going to be reviewing the final episode of Stranger Things over on the second channel as well. You can follow me on the Twitter machine at TrueHillSB3. You can follow the gang, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at Tru Heel Heat, patreon.com/TrueHillHeat. $3 a month gets you exclusive content, the best way to support us when we're not live here. And check out all the great content we got on the channel right now, like the Tru Heel Heat flagship podcast with Tru Heel Heat 361 with our 9th annual Heaty Awards. I think this was one of our best podcasts, flagship podcasts of the entire year, where we gave our year-end awards. So find out who won all the awards there. We'll have a separate video with all the awards dropping on the channel next week as well. Check out our AEW 2025 roster tier list that's up right now. And tomorrow we'll be dropping our NJPW 2025 roster tier list. So you could check that out tomorrow right here on the channel. Before John Escudero, for Tru Draw Josh, it is me, your Tru Heel Phenom, SP3. This has been our AEW Worlds End 2025 review. We are signing off until next time.